Just check. Yes, we are. Yeah. Preparation of what's to come.
So Euclid is a fantasy model. Bev is model afflicted.
Well, it's wrong.
Wait, Euclid is a fantasy. Have you read the book? It's called Euclid's Elements. That's really good. You should give it a look.
Well, it's
over.
wrong.
Yeah, we're probably one of the most perfect books ever wrote.
Well, it's
Mathematical
wrong
as well.
Well, it's wrong.
What, Euclid's Elements are wrong?
No, it's wrong, isn't it?
I don't know. You say it's wrong. Like you've just
on
said
a
it
surface,
three or four times there. But how is it wrong? You just say in that Euclid's Elements is wrong. Euclidean geometry is wrong. Brenda.
Right.
This is getting old, Brenda. I mean, come on. You've got to do better than that. You're not going to sell many globes talking like that.
It's wrong.
Yep.
It's wrong because in the presence of gravity, space is non-Euclidean.
Hyperbolic geometry is not the same, right, as reality.
Okay, well, that's good.
However,
you did say it was in reality, though. So where would you find that?
It's a better description of reality than
Well,
Euclid.
it's wrong.
It's better.
What?
Do you have like the book on hyperbolic geometry with the author's name and all the definitions and axioms and all, or do you just add it on as book 16 to Euclid? Like, what's going on?
Well, it's wrong.
So general relativity. So Euclid is a fantasy model. So Euclid is a fantasy. That is model afflicted.
Wait, Euclid is a fantasy. Have you read the book? It's called Euclid's Elements. That's really good. You should give it a look over.
Well, it's wrong.
So Euclid is a fantasy model.
That's child abuse.
Please don't be model afflicted like Brenda.
That's child abuse. That's child abuse.
You are model afflicted.
Euclid is fantasy,
That's child abuse.
but space-time geometry is real. Wow, Brenda, you outdid yourself.
I have in my imagination land, trying to focus. Right? If I use Euclidean geometry
That's child
to
abuse.
describe reality, I have in my imagination land, which is real.
It's inherent in nature.
Well, it's wrong.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You just on your own.
I don't understand the doublespeak. I don't understand the contradictions.
I'm not sure that I would call myself a diletheist. I don't understand diletheism, because that's what logic is.
Yeah, absolutely foundational, right?
And there are different logics with different axioms. Well, it's by imagination, so I can just bend it in my imagination. I'm not sure that I would call myself a diletheist. I don't understand diletheism. Well, it's by imagination, so I can just bend it in my imagination.
Can you explain to us why they disagree?
That's child abuse. That's child
Because
abuse.
it turns out I can just bend it in my imagination. Space-time is non-Euclidean.
Well, it's wrong.
Euclidean.
Yeah.
One of Kant's
Don't understand.
well-known mistakes.
It's not my problem that you don't want to learn. You just on your own.
Well, if the current, so if the plane is saddle-shaped, so I can just bend it in my imagination. If the plane if you bend it, make it saddle-shaped, then
It's not a plane then, Brenda.
You think things are double-speak, but that's because you don't understand. Well, if the plane is curved, so I can just bend it in my imagination. If the plane is saddle-shaped, if the plane if you bend it, make it saddle-shaped, then
it's not a plane then, Brenda. This is getting old, Brenda. I mean, come on, you've got to do better than that. You're not going to sell many globes talking like that.
So I can just bend it in my imagination. It's obvious to
Up
everybody.
your game, Brenda.
No, I have.
You're meant to be an expert at this. Aren't you? Aren't you one of the best?
No, so I can just bend it in my imagination. Well-known mistakes.
Well, it's wrong.
I just understand.
It's wrong.
It's not my problem that you don't want to learn.
It's inherent in nature.
It's a description.
That's a quote.
That's what it is. They need Euclidean geometry to do all their stolen concept shit.
No reason, no logic, no wisdom, no worry.
As a front.
You're just on your own.
But in the back, they're doing their magic globe shit.
No logic, no answers to question.
Their magic globe shit.
You're just on your own.
Yes, that's what logic is.
Yeah, absolutely foundational, right?
And there are different logics with different axioms.
Reality, yeah.
It's inherent. It's inherent in nature.
It's a description.
That's a quote.
Transcendental, relating to the spiritual realm.
You read the second one. That's interesting.
Kantian philosophy. Is that what you're after? You like a bit of Kant? Presupposed and unnecessary to experience a priori. I've heard QE say that a lot. Is that a better way of saying it? A priori?
Oh, Immanuel Kant introduced that kind of language. Well, actually, people have been talking about it before that, but he was the big man in the block.
The old philosopher.
Come to find out, that quote that I just spoke
inherent.
It's inherent in nature.
Oh, was it?
Ah, yeah.
No way. Kant
said
that Euclidean geometry was what's that?
It's inherent in
to
it's inherent in nature.
nature.
Inherent in nature. Yeah.
Well, it's wrong.
That's a tough
Many
one.
people seem to quote Kant or whatever to saying that reality is obviously and clearly Euclidean.
Yeah.
That's child abuse. That's child abuse.
One of Kant's well-known mistakes.
Because I do actually teach
it's-
my
it's
son
irrelevant.
geometry. So when you say we,
Yeah, that's child abuse. That's child abuse.
what, teaching my child geometry?
What? Yeah.
And we are live. Welcome, everyone. Bit of a long intro, that. And I'm sorry to put everybody through that, but it's going to be more Brenda today. It's Euclid Day. And today we're talking about the extension of the 2D ball argument. 2D surface of spheres. It's very geometric. The actual 2D, 3D argument is purely geometric. But we don't really go into geometry. This is a model affliction. This is one of those things that the argument is about a straight line and how a straight line can be a curved line. We went over it last night, and how people justify the ability of being able to consider a straight line a circle. Because you have to. The great paralogism's a model that's been given to people where you have to assume that a straight line horizontal plane is actually some sort of a curve or circle, and they can deny themselves as much as they want. But that's what this conversation's all about. And there's multiple different ways you can get to the straight line circle geometric argument. One of them is by exposing the level and horizontal. The other one is the purely geometric understanding that the globers have a stolen concept fallacy, where they have to imagine the surface of a sphere is 2D. It's a conceptual thing, but it leads them into believing that the entirety of mathematics and geometry is all conceptual, when there's a definite difference between the two, especially when it comes to solid geometry. So, what we're going to be going over tonight is a couple of weeks ago, I think I did a Brenda 2D balls. These are quite old videos when I did this, but immediately after doing Brenda's 2D balls, I can't quite remember what the original video was called. Let me just check. Brenda flattens balls. Hashtag 2D Earther was the original one. And obviously when Brenda heard that title, obviously imagined some strange things, Brenda being Brenda. So we're going to have the return of Brenda in reply to the video about 2D balls, because we brought about the paradox. I call it a paradox, that they have to have the surface as being 2D, but to them the conceptualization of 2D is the surface of a sphere, whereas that's a little bit impossible. You can't have 2D being both a plane and the surface of a ball. Mathematics, I'd say mathematics doesn't work like that, but there's an entire group of people that say it does, and you're going to hear one of the biggest proponents of this sort of thinking, Brenda, the original paralogist. Right, can I set this up? They're after hunting Bigfoot in the game GTA. I'm jealous. I've got to talk to you a lot about Brenda. Right, here we go. So this is mainly a lot of video, and it is going to be Brenda, but I mean this is quite funny, this, I think. And main screen, there you go, transition that over there, and right, so to give you an outline of what's going on here, I did the video that exposed the contradiction of the globers needing to have a two-dimensional surface be a plane, like everybody knows what 2D is, and the globe earthers, well, particularly Brenda, had to have the fact that the surface of a sphere is actually 2D as well. So I put the video out, Brenda's 2D balls, and then this is where Brenda takes it on return. This was one night.
In the evening.
Okay. So you come back.
Well,
sound levels okay for everyone?
Showing you for the fraud and the liar that you are.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
a little
really.
bit low in Discord for me. I don't know.
Yes, you're a fraud.
How would you explain that before we do the lying bit? How would you explain the fraud bit?
Well, I don't think that you are a flat earther.
I'm
I
not
think
a flat
you're
earther.
a Poe.
I've told you, there are mountains and valleys. They are not flat.
Do you think that there is any flat earther who thinks that because there are mountains and valleys, that means that the earth is not flat?
I don't know. What? This is a pretty bad example of one of the arguments that you'll get given. It's because you say it's not flat, obviously it's not flat. Then they say, well, do you think there's anybody that thinks something that thinks like that? As if that makes any difference to your statement about it not being flat. Obviously. But Brenda likes to push an idea that Brenda's got.
None.
What is your definition of flat?
So there are no.
Is that like two-dimensional?
There are no flat earthers who think that merely because there are hills and valleys, that the earth is, that would mean that if they believed in hills and valleys, that the earth would not be flat. No flat earther thinks that. None of them. Okay, but you think, but you do. You do.
No.
And that's why.
I know.
Yes, you.
I know this hypsometry or topography, whatever you want to call it. But I also know that the water level is horizontal.
So there are no flat earthers who think that just because there's hills and valleys, that means that would mean, if they admitted that would somehow imply that the earth is not flat. Nobody thinks that. Just you.
Well, to me, like we have to be pretty exact, right?
No, you don't have to be.
I do, because that's the way I live.
No, you don't.
Brenda.
No, but that's not how anybody thinks.
It's me, right? The topography, which I call the earth, because I differentiate the earth from the water, right? Earth isn't water, is it? You know, there's a difference.
Yeah. No, the earth refers to both the watery surface.
No, not
and
to me.
The soil.
No, not to me.
Well,
though.
you're.
The earth is the soil to me. Now that is not flat. That's why I say I'm not a flat earther.
Do you think that if the earth was in fact a flat disk with hills, mountains, and valleys, a flat disk, that's like the usual
circular disc?
Is this the first time you've come across that idea?
I don't know. I'm just getting you to qualify what it is.
You don't know.
You're talking about is a disc. When you say a disc, you mean like a frisbee, right?
You're in the flat Earth community, and this is the first time you've heard of people who think that the Earth is a flat disc with a topography and flattened oceans. This is the first time you've heard of that?
No, I don't know. This is another one of those things as well, yeah. I've never heard anybody say that they live on a flat disc. That's ridiculous. Brenda's made up her own idea of what a flat earther is. And again, I have to say, I'm not one of those. Again, I'm not one of those either. Brenda just makes up her idea of what they think a flat earther is, and they label it and they point at you and they say you're one of these people, and you say no, I'm not quite one of those people that you're talking about, and they say, oh yes you are. But this is an example of where Brenda's the one that thinks he lives on a two-dimensional surface of a ball, which is a bad idea in the mind to have, to try and convince somebody that they are the ones at fault. My case is the topology or topography, the hypsometry, whatever you want to call it, the elevation changes of the land prove that it is not flat. It's a very easy statement to say. So if anybody wants to claim flat Earth, then from that point onwards, it's got to be Flat Earth Society that's playing that game. because it's obviously not flat. The first thing I ever say to a flat earther is, how do you deal with the contradiction? And the contradiction to a flat earther is they call themselves a flat earther, but it's obviously not flat. I can't get away from that. How does anybody deal with that? That's why I don't really actually think that there are any actual flat earthers, because it's a contradiction, it's a misnomer, and you'd be silly to fight for it. It'd be one of the worst positions for you to ever hold in a debate, because you could be proved false immediately. That the water is a horizontal plane. I know that.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
And I know, like from last night, or so you call it, this morning it would be for us. I know that there are some people that are two-dimensional earthers that think that. So that is a pretty new one for me. That.
No, so this is new to you. The idea.
The idea
there are people out there
that some of the
so when I'm talking,
think that
when I'm talking,
on
Bev, when I'm talking, shut your mouth and listen. Right? So me talking is not a sign for you to start talking. You got that?
It's very aggressive from Brenda, that, isn't it? Just talking about 2D balls. Gets really upset soon. Well, you've come
Act like
here,
an
Brenda.
adult. Act like adult. Act like an adult.
I'm an adult.
No, you're not.
Yeah, of course I am.
Act like one. So, do you think that people who believe that the Earth is a flat disk with mountains and hills and valleys and seas and rivers and lakes and streams, do you think that they think that the topography has anything to do with the overall shape of the Earth?
I don't know. Do you?
You don't know.
Well, you're one of them, aren't you? You're one of them
No.
two-dimensional.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
No, you don't know. You don't know? Seriously? You're telling me that you don't know that people think the Earth is a two-dimensional or a flat?
I only know what I know. I don't know what other people think. I'm not a mind reader. I don't bother what other people think, to be honest with you.
So you don't know.
I don't.
That there are other people who think that the Earth is
I'm not going to speak
flat
for
disk.
anybody else other than myself.
I'm not asking you to speak for them. I'm asking you if you understand what other people think.
I don't
what
know
the people
what
in
other
your
people
community.
think. What you tell me what you think, Brenda. Do you think you live on a two-dimensional surface?
So you don't know. You're in this community and you have no idea what the other people in your community think is the shape of the Earth. You have no idea.
I'm not going to speak for them.
I'm not asking you to speak for them.
But I don't.
You're
asking me to tell you what I think they think.
Yes.
Well, I'm not. Ask them what they think.
Why?
Or ask me
Don't you
what
know?
I think.
You have no idea.
Don't
but
ask
you have no
me
idea
what I think they think.
So you don't know. You have no idea. This is why I call you a liar and a fraud.
See, this is a very roundabout conversation where Brenda's just trying to say, I don't know. Brenda's trying to get around the fact that Brenda thinks that Brenda lives on a two-dimensional surface of a sphere. So Brenda thinks actually he lives on a two-dimensional surface. That's a flat earther to me. It may sound really strange, but 2D is a plane surface. And Brenda's got some sort of a conceptualization through a geometric model that Brenda's been given by the shadow giants. all based around this 2D, and it's a paralogism. Brenda can't see it. It's interesting to watch listen to all of these things again.
Yeah, but she wants to put you in a box. Brenda wants you in that box, that flat Earth box.
It's to label me a flat earther while I'm saying it's definitely not flat.
Exactly.
And Brenda wants to hold the 2D position as well.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah. I can't understand this sort of thinking at all. It gets better though.
Because you're a liar and a fraud.
Because I'm not.
You're a
willing
man.
to
You're a
tell
man.
you what other
No.
people think.
No, because
that I
because
think
you're
that they think.
right. Because you're sitting here and you're lying to me. You're lying right now.
What, that I can't mind read people.
No, that you don't know what they think.
Yeah,
That's a lie.
I don't know what they
You're
think.
lying.
I can't get.
That was
It's like,
fucking brilliant.
I did say that I can't mind read, and then it's like, no, you
No,
yeah,
you don't know what they think.
Yeah, you aren't a mind reader.
Play that again.
Yeah.
Rewind that a little bit. It's so great.
Do you
What
know?
I think.
You have no idea.
Don't
but you
ask
have no
me
idea because
what I think they
so
think.
you don't know. You have no idea. This is why I call you a liar and a fraud, because you are. You're a liar and a fraud.
Because I'm not.
You're a
willing
man.
To
You're a
tell
man.
You what other
No.
people think.
No, because
that I
because
think
you're
that they think.
right. Because you're sitting here and you're lying to me. You're lying right now.
What, that I can't mind read people.
No, that you don't know what they think.
Yeah,
That's a lie.
I don't know what they
You're
think.
lying.
I can't get inside their brains to
So-
tell you what they
So you
think.
have no idea. You have no idea, no reason to think anything about the people in the community which you are in. You have no idea what they think the shape of the earth
I
is.
don't presume to think what they think.
What
at
do you
all.
think that they? What do you think? What would you guess if you had to guess? What do you think most of the people in the flat Earth community you are a member of? What do you think that they think the shape of the earth is?
I don't know. I guess they wouldn't say a shape. They wouldn't know, would they? I guess they don't know where the extremities are. Have you ever been to the extremities?
That's not. I didn't ask about the extremities. I
Well,
asked
that's how
about
you know what
the shape.
something is, right? Oh,
No,
the
not
triangle thing.
necessarily.
Do you want to have a go with the triangle thing?
So you want to change? You're getting uncomfortable.
can
This is
tell-
another sign.
You can tell
that you're
what
a
shape
liar
something
and a
is
fraud.
by the shape, by
You're-
the amount
you're
of
a
angles
liar.
within a triangle, can't you?
You're a liar. You're a liar and a fraud. You're a man. You have no honor. You're without honor or integrity.
See, these pretty false claims, aren't they? Coming from Brenda. I mean, I've just said that I can't mind read other people. I don't want to presume to think what other people think. If Brenda wants to know them, it would be handy if Brenda goes and asks them. I mean, I quite like talking to people, so I would ask people what they think, but I wouldn't then presume to go and tell other people what they think that other people think. It doesn't make any sense for anyone to do that sort of stuff.
No
Carry
honor
on. No honor for what, Brenda?
for you.
I've got no
You're a
honor.
dishonorable. You're a dishonorable man. Dishonorable
For what reason?
for lying.
For lying about?
Yes, lying about what the community around you that you're
Me
part
not
of.
being able
thinks.
to mind read other people.
That's not what I said. I didn't ask if you could mind read.
You just
This is
asked
another
me to
sign
tell
that you're a
you what
liar.
I think other
Right.
people think.
It's not hard to figure out. It's not hard. And the fact that you try to change things by saying, "Oh, you must think I need to mind read." Nobody thinks that. Nobody's asking that. But that's a tactic that liars use. That's how people lie. You're a liar. I just want you to admit it. I just want you to admit it, Bev, that you are a fraud and a liar. You're a fraud and a liar, Bev.
That's a nice opinion you have there, Brenda.
It's not an opinion. I showed it last night, and I'm showing it
that
now.
was this morning for us.
Yeah, for me it was last night.
Oh.
You know,
Woke
people
up
can
fresh.
just make the calculation. Just make the calculation in your head. I'm on the other side of the world from you.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know anything.
No, I don't
You
know
pretend.
where you live, Brenda. I don't.
I
really
live
matter
in
to
the
me.
United States. I live in the United States. That's several thousand miles away from you, right? Very often when it's nighttime here, it's day there, although there's overlap. And you can't figure that out?
Did you watch your video? Just before you came?
No,
Oh.
I didn't. But I will. But it's nice that you like to make sexual jokes about me.
Pardon?
Does that get you off? Does that get you off?
Sorry, what are you talking about?
The sexual jokes about me.
Which sexual jokes about you?
You have no idea. You have no idea.
I don't know. You have to remind me. Right. The video that Brenda's just said that he hasn't watched is titled "Brenda Flattens Balls." #2D Earther. It's not really sexual. Unless you've got like a ball fetish. Or a 2D fetish. I don't want to presume anything here. Except that Brenda thinks something in the video that Brenda's not watched. That's titled Brenda Flattens Balls. #2D Earther. That's it. Something in that title is sexualization of something.
I think that says more about Brenda than it does about you.
I would say so myself. I was stunned at what Brenda is about to do. You know, like this is obviously a trigger response to something to do with, I'd say, being caught with the pants down, finding out that they're actually the 2D Earther, which is a flat earther, right? Brenda had just found out that 2D Earthers actually exist. Carry on. Here we go.
So you're confused. You're confused. You don't know. You don't know what the video.
Not got anything.
So you don't know. So
Brenda.
So you don't know. You don't know what the video you asked me to watch even says, do you? Is that what you're pretending?
You mean the title of it?
No, yes, the title of it, making a sexual joke.
No.
You think you don't know what that is, do you?
Earther one.
So now you're pretending. You're pretending. Yes, you're pretending, right? Not to understand.
Balls.
This is pretending.
A 3D ball into a 2-dimensional.
Yes, you're
ball.
pretending. You're pretending because you're a liar and a fraud. You're a dishonorable man, Bev. You have no integrity at all. Nobody should think of anything of you because you're just a piece of shit.
Oh, that's nice of you, Brenda.
Well, no, that's what you are. Well, you just showed that you are a piece of shit.
Really?
Because because I asked you about this video, which you asked me to look at, which you know is there.
You've not seen
and
it yet.
I asked you.
It was about
I haven't seen it.
We were talking about this morning. Well, you know what we were going on about.
I can see the title. I can see the title, right?
Yeah,
I can see the title.
2D Earther.
No, that's not what it says. What does it say?
Balls.
What does it say?
Balls.
What does it say? No. What does it say?
Balls.
What? No. What does it say? What does the front card say? What does it say? You don't know. You have no idea.
2D balls. That one.
There you go.
Well,
there you go. It's the first honest thing you've said so far. So the question is, why are you making sexual jokes about me?
That's not a sexual joke.
It's not sex. It doesn't have anything to do with sex.
See, I have to point out again. It's 2D ball, and Brenda actually thinks that the surface of a ball is 2D. How is that sexual? What's going on in the minds of these people? It might actually be sexual for... I don't know. Might be the 2D balls thing. It might be a bit touchy around the ball thing. But I mean, 2D balls. It's not very sexual. And I definitely didn't mean it to be sexual. It's a purely geometric thing. There's not much sexual stuff comes into geometry, really.
Well, yeah, right. I know. I would also say that if I wanted to do a bit of mind reading, right, on Brenda, perhaps I might say that Brenda thinks that our quote unquote solar system with our quote unquote what is it now, 8, 9 planets, whatever it is, the planets, that all of those planets, as well as Big E Earth, are all 2D balls.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they'd have to be. Not to mention, all the moons in our quote unquote solar system. Right?
Every
they're
surface is 2D.
They're all 2D
yeah.
balls. So I don't know. I don't know why the uproar, but
every surface is 2D to a globe earther because of the paradox that have been put in, the paralogisms that have been given. It's just that it's easier to explain the 2D and 3D, the difference between the two. A circle is 2D, a ball or a sphere is 3D. They both can't be 2D. It's one of the identifiers that we go in and we are definitely going to be going into, and we've already gone through. The grammar, the definition of the thing. You can't have something being one thing and also something else. That's the law of non-contradiction. You can't contradict the identity of something and have it being two different things. Doesn't work like that, especially in reality. But an interesting reaction.
You don't. So you're going to lie some more.
You don't have a sexual thing with balls, do you, Brenda?
So you're going to lie some more.
We know that, honestly.
Yes.
That we'll have to put a disclaimer.
So you're going to lie
that.
some more. So you're going to lie some more about this. You're going to lie some more.
DP,
this is why you are dishonest.
Brenda.
You are a dishonest piece of shit. You're
Brenda
dishonest
has a
piece of shit.
Sexual thing with balls.
So yeah. So I'm asking, why are you making these sexual jokes about me?
When you say the sphere has a two-dimensional surface, then you think that is a sexual thing.
Is that what I'm talking about, you fucking liar? Is
you
that what I'm talking about, you fucking clown?
That's,
is that what I'm talking about? Is that what I'm talking about?
Yeah, probably. I think
is
so.
that what I'm talking? No, it isn't.
2D balls.
No, it isn't. That isn't what
You
we're
do
talking
have,
about.
This
is another
balls,
reason.
though, right?
This is another way that we can know that you're a liar and a fraud, right?
I don't know. What is
you think it's funny? You think it's funny? You piece of shit. You think it's funny?
I think.
You think it's funny?
I think your
Do you think it's funny?
Might be little bit.
Do you think it's funny?
Maybe a little bit funny.
You think it's fun? You think it's funny?
Yeah.
So this is how you get off, right? This is.
I did actually. I have to come honest here. Thought it was fucking hilarious. I'm struggling to stop myself from laughing. To be honest,
it is super hilarious. But I mean, you already said it once. I'll say it again. Fairly aggressive from Brenda here.
Yeah, it's not something you'd expect normally for routine.
No,
and if you look in the open live stream as well, there's only Brenda, horizontal or bendy. I can't even remember who that is with the name change. Then there's me, and then there's DP.
Yeah.
There's only 4 of us in the chat, so this is a definite flickering. I haven't got a clue. There's something going on, right? Something in Brenda's mind with this sexualization and the triggering. There's a raw nerve there somewhere, right? There's something that puts Brenda on tilt, at least.
And I find it hard to believe that it's simply because Brenda thinks that you're lying, or what have you. I mean, lots of people lie. Lots of people lie to me all the time. I don't get aggressive like that. I mean, it's not like you're some special person in Brenda's life. At least I don't think so. Right?
I hope not.
I mean,
I don't want to be.
It's not like, this is somebody you've been with for 25 years and suddenly you're finding out that they're a liar and a fraud. I mean, I have your opinion. It's great. Okay. Why are you so aggressively upset about this?
I really believe that, because this is at the beginning of the 2D, 3D circle and sphere, and this is the great paralogism that's been given to them, and I think I just exposed it, right? I literally shown Brenda this paralogism, the contradiction of the fact that Brenda's actually the 2D earther. I mean, there are many when you get into this conversation that happens, and I really think this is the triggering, because of the initial response to being exposed to it, and Brenda's trying to deal with it as best he can. It does go on for quite a bit, this. Oh, here we go.
This is how you get off.
No, you came here.
This is
and
how
told
you
me
get
that
off.
You have a sexual thing for balls.
I never said anything like that.
Yeah, you did.
This is how you get off. This is how you get off. When you masturbate, do you think about me? Is that what it is? You're thinking it?
What?
When you masturbate?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
God,
where does that come from?
I can't unhear that.
We've gone from 2D balls to, I don't know. I mean, this may be what Brenda does, pleasuring himself to balls. I mean, who knows?
Goodness.
I haven't got a clue.
Ugh.
I think that is provocation.
Well, that's what Brenda does, right? Brenda tries to catch you on something.
He wants to build a straw man to beat.
Yeah.
He wants to catch you on your weak point and then to beat that horse.
Yeah, there's not much of a weak point on the fact that Brenda's the one that thinks the surface of a sphere is 2D, right? That's not my paralogism. That's Brenda's. So
yes, Brenda is cornered already, because if you say that we live on 3D Earth, therefore Brenda has to defend 2D ball. It is impossible position to defend. That's why he's trying to strawman about sexuality and something else.
yeah, well, I think it's they get trapped because when I obviously say it's definitely not flat, provably, easily provable. I mean, it's more easily provable it's not flat than it is provable than it's provable that it isn't a globe, right? It's easier to prove it's not flat.
But Brenda is in position that if he wants to defend 2D ball, therefore ipso facto is defending flat Earth.
Yeah, I know. That's why when we started on this geometrical argument, to find out the 2D earthers are the globers, right? It just goes to show why they are so adamant about having a go at the flat earthers, because deep down they are the 2D earthers, and they have to be. Their model geometrically puts them in that position. It's amazing.
Because all calculation you can do on flat plane. All geometry you are doing on flat plane or two-dimensional surface.
Yeah, you have to have the straight line in order to measure a curve.
So they are stuck.
Yeah, and this argument exposes it, the geometrical argument.
Debate.
We're gonna have to go over.
And then when
this
you
bit
come,
again.
am I in my
Doesn't
mind?
get
In your
any
mind?
better.
Is that right?
Is that what you're thinking
Is that
about
what
now?
you?
Is that
No,
because I
it's-
started
I'm
talking
asking
about
if that's what-
two-dimensional balls? So you're
No,
getting
I'm
all excited.
I'm asking if that's what you think,
No,
because
it's
that's
not.
what
It's not.
usually happens.
You're the
But
one
you're
that's
the
brought
one-
that here.
No, you're the one making the joke. You're the one making the joke. So I'm asking you, if when you jack off, is this what you think about? Is that what you think about
2D
when you
balls
jack
normally sends you into this sort of a frenzy.
No, when people make sexual remarks about me, I get upset.
Where's that?
And so then what I do is I confront them about that, and they turn out to be lying sacks of shit.
Is it
like
because
you?
of the
You're
is it the
fucking,
mentions of the balls?
No, it's the fact that you're a fucking coward.
Go sexual.
No. It's confronting you about sexual jokes in order to show what a lying sack of shit you are.
Okay. So this
Right?
is
I'm
because
confronting
of
you.
the 2D surface of a sphere. Right?
Yeah, is that what it says? It doesn't say that, does it?
But that's what this is about, right? Because that's what the talk was
no,
about earlier
no.
on.
No, that's not what this is about. This
purposely
is
came
about
in
me
here to say about a two-dimensional surface.
No, this is
of a
about
ball.
this is about me. This is about me confronting you with your sexual comments and remarks about me.
No, that's you imagining that being sexual, Brendan.
No,
it's not.
I'm not imagining anything. Anybody can see that this is a sexual innuendo, and I'm confronting you about it to show what a piece of shit you are. Are you choking? Are you choking? Are you jacking off now? Are you jacking off, Ev? How often do you jack off, Bev?
It's getting a bit.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
A little crude, I would say.
Yeah. Come from nowhere, right? Just because exposed Brenda to the fact that Brenda's the 2D earther.
I can only imagine that being in the position he is in, that everyone he meets, he would have that thought that someone's thinking about him sexually. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Because how do you live a dual identity?
It's projection. He's
That is,
thinking
for sure.
about everything in sexual manner, so he's projecting on others.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not even worth thinking about, is it, really? Please don't make me think about it.
How often do you jack off? Since you feel comfortable,
Is this where you
since you
normally
feel
go with
comfortable.
debates, to Brenda?
No, this is not where I normally go. This is where I go with line sacks of shit like you, people who enjoy making sexual comments about other people. So I'm going to throw it in your face.
That's you all the time.
So I'm putting it
all the way.
So I'm confronting you. I'm confronting you, right?
Okay.
And so since you feel free, since you feel free, right? So since you feel free to comment,
people.
Right. Yes. When you feel free to make sexual remarks about me, that means I get to make sexual remarks about you. So how often? When was the last time you jacked off? When was the last time you jacked off, Bev? When, you know, when did you? Oh, why?
Is this it? See, this is getting a little bit really strange now, right? Just for the fact because
Yeah, it's
Brenda had been
beyond
in
strange.
earlier and said that the surface of a sphere was 2D. Carry on. Who are you?
You have no right. You have no right to be offended because you feel comfortable offending me.
I know.
Oh, then just tell me. Then just tell me how often. Well, then just tell me how often do you jack off?
No, it's all right.
What shape is your penis? What have you got a little mushroom? Tell me about it. Does it bend to the right?
I will say
I couldn't help myself from laughing there, right?
Wow.
This kind of ties hand in hand because we see what the globe scientists are all about.
Yeah.
I mean, we live that firsthand, so to speak.
Wow.
I don't think we're the ones that have the sexual innuendo problem.
It's madness, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pure madness.
Carry on.
To the left. Huh? What is it? 1 inch, 2 inches,
great.
3 inches?
Is this where we're
Tell me
going with
about
the
it.
new debate scene?
This is because you feel free making sexual remarks about me. So therefore, that gives me permission. That gives me permission to make sexual remarks about you. So tell me, how often do you jack off?
Here's the other thing I noticed, Bev.
A little bit
real
strange,
quick.
Brent.
Go ahead.
Go on.
It just hit me. Here's the other thing I noticed throughout what is this now? 2-3 minutes of this going on, of this explicit, aggressive, tell me about your private situation. Not once. I mean, I'm in my head. I'm going, why didn't Bev say X? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there were 1,000 times you could have put a witty remark back at Brenda.
Yeah.
And you didn't take the opportunity to do that.
No,
Just
because
in
I
case
don't want
Brenda-
to. Yeah.
I know, right? But just in case Brenda or anybody else is listening, or they might agree with Brenda, take note of that. This is 3-4 minutes of pure, vile, disgusting talk because Bev put a title in related to 2D balls.
Yeah.
Because every ball, every 3D sphere is 2D to them. Has to be. Oh, they will say the surface is 2D. Of course, we could have 2D and 3D at the same time. But nonetheless, all of this vile talk, and not one time did you retort back at Brenda. Not once.
Because I know what Brenda's trying to do, right? Brenda's playing the snowflake card, but coming on really aggressive and waiting for that one chance of me to say something and then go, oh, how dare you? I know the game. I've been playing it on Twitter. That's where I started. I've never been suspended or banned or anything from Twitter. I know how these people play games and how they all work.
And your strength is marvelous, I have to say. I noticed that myself, Kevin, for sure.
Carry on.
Too bad. Yeah, I don't care about your discomfort. You don't care about my discomfort, so I don't have to care about yours.
You came here earlier talking about the two-dimensional surface of a sphere.
So maybe you're like Pete Shea and you drink your own piss. Do you do that? Do you drink your own piss? A lot of flat.
Again, it just goes crazy again. It's all to do with flat earthers. This is Brenda's flat earth obsessed because of the 2D ball thing. It's been exposed.
All this was motivated by the title of the video?
Well, like I say, I'd exposed Brenda like earlier that day to me, the night before for Brenda, to the fact that once you get onto this geometric argument and you find out about the stolen concept fallacy, that they have an understanding that the globe surface has to be 2D. That's because they have to relate to reality, and reality has a fact that level is horizontal, right? Level is a straight line on a horizontal plane. And they have to have that equate to the surface of a ball. So conceptually, within the mathematical framework of the geometry that they have, they've had to make the surface of a sphere a 2D.
That's why they insist on that straight line is curved.
Yeah.
Because they have to have this.
Yeah, once you understand the paralogism, then you can use that within an argument to direct people into saying that globe earthers are the ones that actually believe that the surface is 2D. And this isn't particular to Brenda. This is any globe earther or anybody.
Where's the connection that warrants this kind of response, though? I mean, what did you do?
Just expose Brenda to this fact. I think this is a cognitive dissonance, right?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
The Brenda's
right.
reaction is a cognitive dissonance, right? And it's because I've exposed Brenda to this thing.
So he's mentally taken himself as far away from that topic as he can. To go there, that's crazy.
It's got to be, though, right? I mean, again, it can't. I don't believe for a second that it truly is, because even if you grant some sort of double entendre with the title of the thing, that's on the reader, right? You can't assume or draw intent of the author of the words that are put on it. That's you take it that way. You can't know the intent of the person that put it in there, but that nonetheless, Brenda, in Brenda's position, for the folks that know Brenda, should know that this is beyond mild, right? Is even as a double entendre, even if Brenda took it that way. I mean, Brenda being in Brenda's position, this is beyond snowflake to me. That's why I said I agree with Bev. I think it's cog dis for the whole thing.
Yeah, there's something going on there for sure.
Yeah. It's got to be beyond just the title. It has to be.
And bit of acting in that, because I have heard Brenda on, it was, I think, on Ranty show a few years ago, when Brenda had discussion with a guy named Right the Hand, I think, and Right the Hand was making a Socratic method, so it looked like interrogation to let's say to reduce the problem. It was about Einstein space-time, I think, and then Brenda just started to curse. So I think that this is part of defense, to play victim and to project.
Yeah, a cog dis reaction.
Yes.
Not actually.
This is not first time I heard something like that from Brenda.
Yeah, it's not just Brenda that does this again. This is, I think, literally, when you expose a contradiction to people, there's multiple different ways that you can react to that. this is a cognitive dissonance where the brain short circuits and you don't know how to deal with this contradiction that you're facing. And it's a big one for a globe earther, because finding out you are the guy that actually thinks that you live on a 2D surface. Oh, I don't know where I had it. I think I had it about 18. I don't know. I just pressed the button.
Because if
Think about the
if
two-dimensional surface of. Oh, go on. Sorry.
I just wanted to add that if Brenda hates flat earthers, so you are forcing Brenda to hate himself.
Yeah.
Because if you are exposing him as flat earther, so he's forced to hate himself.
And that's the cog dis, right? The reaction is that when you find out you are what you actually hate, that how do you deal with it? Well, you try and just push everything onto somebody else.
Yeah, it is unbearable for him.
I don't know if they hate flat earthers. I think they hate the fact that they might have to face the truth eventually that they've been wrong. And they don't want to have to deal with it, possibly. So these are all guesses on my part. It's the message. It's not the person. It's got to be, right? I mean, they're realizing that their reality might not be what they always believed it was. I mean, that kind of hate. Wow, that's just sad, though.
Confrontation with truth should be painful for them.
Here's the other thing before you go back to it, Bev, real quick. Here's the other thing that just hit me is how long ago was this? Do you know roughly, right?
About let's see. Comments a year ago. So at least
so a year ago.
Yeah.
So at least a year ago. So get this, people, right? So think about this. So you hear this kind of vitriol. Is this offended at Bev? It's this bad. And yet, how often has Brenda come in here over the last year to expose Brenda to what the offenses that she's berating Bev for over and over and over again, continually? Well, who would do that? If you're that offended, why do you go back consistently? It's bizarre. I'm not a psychologist, but I'm sure there's some psychological word for that. Why someone continues to go back to be abused, so to speak, if you think you're abused.
Like masochist?
Yeah. Sadist, something.
Well, yeah. Let's see. Personal experience there?
Absolutely none, none whatsoever.
Okay.
But I know that a lot of flat earthers like to drink their own piss.
Well, I don't know. I've never
PJ,
inquired about that sort of thing.
Well, they talk about it all the time.
You sound like that sort of a person to ask those sort of questions. I mean, like, you've asked me a fair few questions today that are not really relevant to any sort of discussion that we're talking.
Do you think that the comments about the video are relevant?
What about the two-dimensional surface of a sphere?
Is that what the title? Was that what the title card says? That's not what it says.
You mean the thumbnail?
Yes, that's called a title card.
Yeah, it's called the thumbnail.
Do you think that's relevant? Do you think that's relevant?
Do
you think that's relevant?
Thumbnail. That's what it's called.
Do you think that's? Do you think that's relevant? Do you think that's relevant?
DP made
no, that's a sexual. That's a sexual comment, and so you think that that's
Brenda's
appropriate.
Two-dimensional balls.
Right. And the
But
obvious
that is
sexual
what you were
connotation.
talking about earlier, though, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that was the thing.
so
2 dimensions
yes,
versus 3 dimensions.
yes, you're going to pretend.
And
You're
what
going to
did you say?
pretend
You
that
said
you don't.
2 dimensions.
So you're
right?
going to pretend that you don't understand anything that's been going on. You're
I'm
going to
not
pretend you don't
pretending I'm
understand.
doing anything. I'm
You're a
telling you.
liar.
I'm telling
You're
you
a
straight to your
liar
face.
and a fraud. You're a liar and a fraud.
But what you say, Brenda, doesn't really mean anything, does it?
But you're a liar. Yeah, well, it does. You're a
Who
liar
does it
and a
mean to?
fraud.
You just keep saying it. It doesn't make it true.
What do you mean?
Just...
Who does it mean to? You sit here and you lie to my face. You lied the other night, and you're lying now.
Lie about
and it's
what?
obvious.
Come on, Brenda. You just keep saying
just
that.
everything.
It's just obvious.
Everything.
Yeah.
You don't. You're lying. You're lying when you say that you have no idea what other people in your flat Earth community think the shape of the Earth is. That's a lie.
Like I said, you'll have to ask them, Brenda. I'm only willing to speak.
I'm asking
for myself.
you. I'm asking you what you think other people in your community think. So I'm a glober, and I'm a glober.
I only
I'm
think
not asking you
for
to think
myself.
for. I'm not asking you to think for other people. So I'm a globe earther, and I can tell you that the people in my community all think that the Earth is a globe. Now, that's not me thinking for them. That's not me mind reading. Nobody is that fucking stupid. Only you are so fucking stupid that you can't understand a simple fucking question. That's how fucking stupid you are.
Wow,
you're stupid, man.
Swear words
you're
that
I
was
don't
a
care.
really bad ad hom. That does that not constitute as a loss when you start ad homing?
That's not an ad hom. It's not an ad hom.
Is it not?
No, it's not an ad hom.
Like
it's an insult. No, yes, that's another thing you don't understand. I didn't say that an argument was false because you're a fucking idiot. I just said you're a fucking idiot.
Oh, right. So that doesn't
constitute it's just it's an insult.
Oh, right.
Yes, I'm just insulting you.
Obviously wins.
It's also
helps you win like your case. How many
points
do you think you're going to get for that?
What case? I'm not making a case. This isn't a debate.
You two can hear us.
This is
I
me
don't know
confronting you, on what a lying sack of shit you are, and how fucking stupid you are, that you can't figure things out. You can't figure anything out.
Loads of things out.
No, you can't. No, you can't. You don't even understand. Last night showed me that you don't even understand Euclidean. You don't understand Euclidean geometry. I showed that last night. You have no clue.
What did you show that I didn't understand?
You don't understand the fifth postulate.
Which is
the parallel postulate.
And I don't understand it. How?
I tried to explain it to you, and you couldn't understand it last night.
That, right. This is one of those things that we've been going over. I think Saragaki mentioned it last night. People say we don't understand stuff that's very basic geometric concepts, and it's obvious we can show it. That Brenda's talking about the triangle axiom, or what Brenda calls the parallel postulate, saying that we don't understand it. We ask, what is it that we don't understand about the fact that a triangle will be formed on one side of the line or the other, or one position where there is none? I mean, it's a very basic geometric concept, but Brenda's, I don't know, trying to but this is at the heart of the misunderstanding that shows how the globe earthers believe that these straight lines must curve within that framework of that one axiom that they try and change. This is the problem, and it's so obviously the problem that Brenda's come in, and we're 23 minutes into a conversation now, we're now finally getting round to the actual point where Brenda's getting to the cogdis realization. I had to sit there and take all of the whatever it is that sort of abuse in order to get to this part now where Brenda really shows the paralogisms that have been put there by people. If two lines are parallel, then they don't touch, right?
No, that's not what it says.
I know that's not what it says, but you call it the parallel postulate. It doesn't mention parallel lines, does it?
That's correct.
Right,
That's
well,
correct.
so it states, or what you imagine it states, is that parallel lines don't touch, right?
That's not what it says. This is why you are a fucking moron, because you don't even understand your own Euclidean geometry you profess to believe. It does not say that. You don't understand it.
What does it
Your
say
own,
then?
your own.
Right, so I have to point out again, this is definitely a paralogism that Brenda's got. Brenda's the one that calls it the parallel postulate, and we've just pointed out that it doesn't actually mention parallel lines at all. So Brenda's the one that's put parallel to it. Now, what Brenda imagines it says is that there are parallel lines, but that can't happen on the globe model. It's a massive problem for that globe model. And this is going to show now. This is the paralogism that Brenda imagines, that allows Brenda to imagine that a surface of a sphere is 2D. With this that's coming now.
Own so-called.
Like, don't just say it doesn't say that. Explain.
I'll tell you what
it
says.
does say. If it doesn't say,
are you gonna
parallel lines don't touch?
It's called the parallel postulate because it establishes that if there is a line and then a point not on that line, that there is one and only one line, which passes through that point, which does not intersect with the line. And you couldn't understand that last night.
Because it doesn't intersect, because it runs parallel. It doesn't touch. Parallel lines
we get
do
that.
not
We get
touch.
that. Yes.
Yeah, you just said exactly what I said, but after you saying that what I said wasn't correct.
But you don't understand it. That was the point that came out last night.
You just repeated what I said. And then after that, you've said that I don't understand it, which just goes to prove.
No, I'm not
you don't
repeating what you
understand
said.
what you're talking about.
No, you said something completely different.
You're for a reason, isn't it, Brenda?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So that reason is. I've been thinking about this recently, right? Since it doesn't actually say anything about parallel lines, could you postulate something about parallel lines from the axiom? And that's why they call it a postulate and not an axiom, because the axiom doesn't state parallel at all. Just a question. That it states that parallel lines do not touch.
It does not. It does not say that.
That's what parallel lines mean, isn't it?
It does not mention parallel lines at all.
No,
so when you say it says parallel lines don't cross, that's not true, and that's you not understanding geometry. That's not what it says.
Yeah, I know it doesn't say anything. It says, if a straight line meet two straight lines so as to make the two interior angles on the same side of it taken together less than two right angles, these straight lines, being continually produced, shall at length meet on that side on which are the angles which are less than two right angles. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah, but the better one is the more modern
that is
version,
brilliant,
which
that
I
one.
reclated.
I can show it you on a draw it out for you if you want me to.
No, you think that this is like some sort of sacred text, and
It's
only
Euclidean,
the old version is
Euclidean
correct.
geometry.
Do you think it's sacred? You think it's a sacred text?
Well, probably one of the most perfect books ever wrote.
Well, it's
Mathematical
wrong
as well.
Well, it's wrong.
What Euclid's elements are wrong.
No, it's wrong, isn't it?
I don't know. You say it's wrong. Like you've
Well,
just
on
said
a
it
surface-
three or four times there. But how is
Yeah.
it wrong? You just say in that Euclid's elements is wrong. Euclidean geometry is wrong. Brenda.
Right. It's wrong.
Yep.
It's wrong.
Right, there you go. So this is Brenda saying that Euclidean geometry is wrong. Hand wave dismissal of Euclidean geometry because Brenda says so.
But in fact, the fifth postulate is talking about not parallel lines and is describing condition where it is occurring. If you intersect these lines, straight lines, and this line is producing angle less than 180 degree, therefore these lines must intersect. This is fifth postulate. So this is rather opposition. So it's stating about when lines are not parallel and must be not parallel.
It just states on which side of a straight line two other straight lines will touch. Where the triangle will be formed. And there being one specific position where no triangle is formed. That's it. That's all that thing states. And it's an obvious axiom. Because it can't be any other way.
Yes, and in the fourth postulate is clearly said that two right angles are equal. So
all right angles are equal. And it's that isn't a postulate either. That's an axiom also.
Right. That's the thing is Brenda's upset because you will not accept the new translation that does away with all the axioms and the definitions.
Yeah, axioms and definitions come before the propositions. They come before proofs. Although definitions are sort of built upon, like we say, they're built upon the words that they hold to be true, the actions. That's where the words come from.
Exactly.
But yeah, like I say, this is a purely geometric argument, but it starts off with the trigger. Now, if I'd have played to that initial onslaught, we'd have never have got to this point now to find out where the paralogisms are. And like I say, this isn't just Brenda. This is anybody that you get involved into this geometric discussion. And Brenda's now denying Euclidean geometry. Says it's wrong somehow.
Because in the presence of gravity, space is non-Euclidean.
There you go. So in the presence of gravity, space is non-Euclidean. Now, I think I'm going to say to Brenda, does that mean that because we do live in Euclidean 3 space, that there is no gravity? Or does that mean that Brenda's just disproved Euclidean geometry?
Yes, I think so, because he said that in the presence of gravity, Euclidean geometry is not valid.
Yeah.
So gravity validates or invalidates geometry.
Yeah. Yeah, and since Pythagorean theorem is a proof within Euclidean geometry, and you'd be hard pressed to deny the Pythagorean theorem, then that has to be a proof. Also, pi being a transcendental number sort of validates Euclidean geometry. There's many ways to validate Euclidean geometry. So, I mean, Brenda might have just disproved gravity there by the proof of Euclidean geometry. Who knows? In the presence of gravity, did you just say?
Yes.
So when we say we use Euclidean geometry, would that mean that there is no gravity, or that you're wrong?
No, that doesn't mean that. That doesn't follow.
Oh, doesn't follow, says Brenda. So what doesn't follow? What does that even mean?
It means non sequitur.
Yeah.
For this.
Brenda's just made a case to say that it's falsified by gravity, like it's magic wand of gravity just to falsify Euclidean geometry. It's amazing what the Globers think that they can do.
It's funny because
explain.
unproven thing is invalidating proven thing. This is idiotic completely.
Yeah, but you know, they do have a model. The great paralogism's been put there, and it has to be true. It's globe.
What's there to explain?
In the presence of gravity, you said, non-Euclidean geometry, right? So what happens to Euclidean geometry? Where is that used?
Oh, it's like an approximation, right? Because it can be the case. Yeah, it's an approximation.
And like, which is the exact one then? Like, how do you get more exact?
Well, it sort of depends on the space around you.
Okay.
There's places in the universe where you get a pseudosphere geometry, right? Which is with negative curvature.
Right.
There's places with negative curvature.
Have you ever done trigonometry?
A long time ago in high school.
Okay. Do you know what it is then, right?
So you think
it's based on a triangle, right? A right angle triangle.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And
are these like new? Are these like new
degrees?
Are these like new concepts to you?
That would be.
Are these new ideas to you?
Triangles, right?
Are these new ideas to you? You aware
you have
that
Euclidean triangles used in trigonometry, and you say we don't use Euclidean triangles? Is that not accurate enough for you? Is it not? You don't like it's just an approximation whenever the teachers at school use trigonometry.
Excuse me,
I'll have to tell my lad that.
Bev, when I'm talking, you sit down and shut the fuck up.
You just say Bev all of the time for some reason. That's not really talking, is it?
Because you were talking over me. I was talking, and then you decided to start talking. So what I want you to do is to sit down and shut your mouth.
I'm gonna go and
sit down and shut your mouth. There you go. There you go. Be a good boy and know your place and shut the fuck up. Know your place. Know your place and shut up.
See, I'm making a brew now. And what's Brenda saying? you've got the floor, La. Go on, off you go.
So apparently this is new idea to you, which is that geometry is something every child is taught. So you talking to me about triangles isn't new mathematics. Every child knows this. You think this is like advanced stuff.
Is that child abuse to every child
because
that gets
because
taught
you're
geometry?
Because you're a fucking moron, and you think that this is new stuff. This is advanced stuff. This is how fucking stupid you are. So don't talk to me about triangles. I know about triangles, right?
You like that? I always like that. Sounds like a gangster move, doesn't it? Don't talk to me about triangles. I know about triangles, right? But the fact that triangles have 180 degrees sort of proves Euclidean geometry also, which to Brenda disproves gravity. It's a bit of a once you start down this road of proofs and this proves that, like the moment you bring geometry in, you'll get caught a liar if it's not a truthful statement. There's only one place really that the truth value is highly maintained, and that's within Euclidean geometry. That's the only truth value throughout. Some people might say mathematics, but you know, Euclidean geometry for me all the way. Oh, do you know about triangles? I mean, you were saying about that. You went to go and research about triangles with more than 180, didn't you?
Now, this is another thing you don't understand.
Talk to about that?
On
any surveyors did you get to check it? Did you?
On a sphere, when I'm talking, shut your fucking mouth. Got that? So when you ask me a question,
what, about
and
these
I start
triangles,
so
right?
excuse me, I was fucking talking. When you ask me a question and I start to answer, that's not. Excuse me. When you ask me a question and I'm answering, shut your fucking mouth. Shut it. You got that?
Triangles with 180 degrees, or more than 180 degrees.
Do you got that?
Have you asked anyone yet?
Bev, do you got that?
The kettle's just boiled. I'll be back
Bev,
in a minute.
Yeah. Run away, you fucking piece of shit.
So to think Brenda came in to have a chat. This is what Brenda does. I'm not too sure whether there's anything, argumentative wise. I mean, Brenda's not got anything to say.
So this is what the fucking little coward, the cowardly little piece of shit called Bev. He's a cowardly little piece of shit who doesn't even know, what the difference is between Euclidean and non-Euclidean, which is simple, something you can teach in high school, right? It's simple. The sum of the angles of a triangle on a surface with positive curvature is greater than 180 degrees. On a surface with negative curvature, it's less than, and on a flat plane, it's equal to 180 degrees.
Can I just offer up the difference between Euclidean and non-Euclidean?
Excuse me, I was fucking
one of them
talking.
is Euclidean and the other one
talking.
isn't Euclidean.
I'm talking.
It's quite a clear difference.
I'm talking. Shut up. Shut up when I'm talking.
It's just saying it's a pretty clear difference between the two of them. Like one is and the other one isn't.
Bev.
It says non in front of it.
Shut up, Bev. When I'm talking, shut up.
The Euclidean geometry is just called Euclidean, and then the non-Euclidean has non
wrote in front of
No,
it.
shut up, Bev. Bev, I'm talking. We need to set ground rules because you're a fucking child and you don't know how to have a conversation like an adult. When I'm talking, that's not a sign for you to start
You're
talking.
a fucking child.
You got that. Tell me.
It's great, isn't it?
This is so great.
Yeah.
As Brenda's being completely childish and non-adult-like.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
good.
obviously me, isn't it? Obviously. You can tell by the way the
Clearly.
conversation's going.
Oh yeah, you've totally provoked Brenda to the nth degree. It's crazy.
Indicate that you understand and you're willing forward to respect the person who's talking, and I'll respect you. But otherwise, I'm not going to.
Do you reckon Brenda could do that? I'm not too sure.
Yeah,
I could have
no.
a conversation with anybody. I mean, like, here I am talking to Brenda. Right? I shouldn't really be still talking to Brenda, should I? I mean, let's face it.
Oh, I would have kicked a
Yeah.
long time ago.
Exactly. I would have too. When
Yeah.
she started telling you to keep your place, that would have been it. It would have been over right there.
Yeah. I think it's funny, though, because, again, you just by talking to people, you learn more about them. And this sort of a conversation, I think you definitely learn a lot more about Brenda than you would from kicking, right?
As long as you can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And you seem to be doing it very well. I don't know how you do it, but you do it.
It doesn't affect me, I'm telling you.
It's amazing, Bev.
It's purely logical. There's no emotion involved in it at all.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I just
So when
thought
I'm
my
talking-
definition, the difference between the two was a bit better than yours.
You
I
don't.
thought it was a bit more
You don't.
concise.
What's the difference?
One
What's
of
the
them
difference?
says is Euclidean geometry and it's well defined. The other one just isn't that.
That's not true. You're wrong. And again,
Well, unless you label it and give us the axioms and all of that, you've not
I did
done that.
that.
You've just said it's
I did
not
that last night.
Euclidean.
I did that last night. I told you what the axioms are.
Did you?
The axioms for yes, I did last night.
This is crazy as well. Somebody's told us about the axioms of non-Euclidean geometry. Nobody's ever done that because there aren't any.
Yeah, well, I know we've been asking for them
Yeah.
forever. Give us your axioms, your postulates, your definitions.
Only Euclidean geometry and imaginometry have definitions and axioms and postulates. They're the only two that I know of. Come and tell us any more if you know of any.
No, you didn't.
You were too busy.
didn't.
You were
Well,
too busy
you've
running
not
off
watched
your
the
fucking
video,
mouth.
have you? Like you,
Yeah,
you'd
yeah,
have
you were-
found it on there.
I told you what they were. You didn't listen because you don't listen. But I told you what there are axioms for spherical geometry, and there are axioms.
They are, yeah.
for-
You did
for-
say there are, but you didn't say
Yes,
what
and
they are, did you?
No,
You just
I
said
told you.
there
No,
are.
I
It's a
told you
bit
what they
vague.
are. No, I told you what they are. I specifically called them out. What they are. I told you
didn't.
exactly.
There is a video, Brenda. There is
Yeah.
a video, and it was recorded. You can
Yes.
quite clearly see that you didn't do what you've just said you did.
That's false. That's false. I gave you the axioms.
You'll be
you
able
want
to
me to
just
give them to you?
clip it out.
No,
from
Bev, when I'm
the earlier
talking,
video.
shut up.
No problem.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Go and clip the
Shut
video.
up.
Or if you, we
Bev,
can give you a little bit if you want. Do you know
Shut
about
up.
what sort of time it
Bev,
was? We should
shut
get
up.
somebody to have a look for you.
Bev, shut up.
Do you
When I'm
have- do
talking,
you have somebody
shut your
to
mouth.
do that for you?
Right, so here what is. Literally, Brenda's talking about a video that I just put out that I said, Brenda, have you watched it? Brenda said no. But now Brenda's saying in that video that is not watched, that's where he said what the axioms for non-Euclidean geometry are. It's obvious that, it didn't happen. And all I'm saying is, give us a timestamp where you said it. We'll go back. We'll listen to it. If you did say that, then just tell us where it was. We'll go and have a look for it. Pretty obvious. It's not there. It's not in that video at all. Doesn't exist. Brenda's lying, or Brenda thinks he actually did say that. Not too sure. Never being able to put up that quote from the other one. I mean, still open, Brenda, if you want to go back to that other one where you can prove yourself that you're not a lying shit, then you can just go back and clip it and show us where it is. Axioms for non-Euclidean geometry, please. Oh, did you forget about them not being any axioms? Postmodernism. Fucked all of that shit off. Got rid of it.
When I'm talking, shut your fucking mouth. Sit down and shut the fuck up.
Ooh. Go on, power trip. Go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
So that's what is that what you want? Is that what you want? You little piece of shit. That's what you're here for. Because this is because you know what a piece of shit you are, and so you want to get one over all those people that you think have put you down. But the fact is that you're just a piece of shit.
I don't think you've put me down. I think you might have tried to, but I don't personally.
No, I humiliated you. I humiliated you the other night. Yes.
That was
I showed you
the two-dimensional surface of a sphere. Humiliation.
Yes, you're a clown.
Oh, yeah,
you're a clown.
Do that anytime.
You're a moron because you think the surface of a sphere is three-dimensional.
I do think the surface of a sphere is three-dimensional.
Yes, you're a clown. You're a clown. I showed you last night what a clown you are.
And you've done what? I bet you were seething all day, weren't you? Like, did you struggle going to sleep, or?
No, I forgot about you.
You slept well.
No, I forgot about you.
Okay, well, you still came back here though, didn't you? Like, so something must have.
Because I get
reminders.
I get reminders in Discord. A little message pops up.
Oh.
Otherwise, I don't think about you at all.
Oh. But the little message comes up that tells you to think about me.
Well, from that's how Discord works. Do you not know how Discord works?
Yeah, I don't know how Discord works. Yes. I don't have notifications turned on though.
So the point that you were making.
That'd be a nightmare.
So, Bev,
keep special notifications turned on just for the special places.
Bev, you really need to start respecting
places.
You really need to start not talking and respecting verbal space here. And when I'm talking, you don't.
You need to respect verbal space now as well. Doesn't that sound very snowflakey? Brenda's going to come in and just talk shit and then say you've got to respect the verbal space that Brenda's got. Seems to be that Brenda can say whatever the fuck he wants and then sort of push it on you that it's your fault that whenever you say anything.
It's quite evident.
You don't start talking. Okay?
Watch you don't trip over your words when you...
You need to start respecting that space.
What space?
You really do.
Space? A bit close. That COVID space.
Is that how fucking stupid you are? You can't understand that?
Space. You mean the space is the distance between physical objects, right? That space.
No, I'm not talking about that, you moron.
What sort of space are you talking about then?
Well, what was I just talking about?
I don't know. I forgot. I was bored.
Yeah, you don't know. You forgot. You don't know. That's how fucking stupid you are. You don't know what I was just talking about.
You were probably
You can't figure it out.
somewhere. Or you're doing just
No, I was not at home. I was just insulting you.
Oh, nice.
But I was talking about something. I was just talking about something. Right? What was I talking about? Do you remember?
Probably about ad hominem or just sort of insulting.
No.
You were, yeah.
No. I was talking.
You were explaining how triggered you get.
No,
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't talking about that either. I wasn't. I was talking about how I want you to start respecting the fact that I'm talking and to not interrupt me when I'm talking.
You really need to start saying something rather than just saying that you're talking.
It doesn't matter.
You just can talk.
The fact that you can't understand or comprehend elementary 7th grade mathematics doesn't mean that what I'm talking about doesn't mean anything.
So I'd still say this, right? Of all of the times that Brenda's ever come round here, he's never actually said anything that made any sense. But some of the things he does say lead us into discoveries that help us, like paralogisms, paraconsistent logics. I never even knew that they were a thing, really. So Brenda has helped us in certain ways, but nothing with anything that he's ever said. It's just ad homs and ridiculous statements. But shows you how the argument that Brenda came in triggered about was about 2D balls. And the conversation has never gone there because it's a paralogism. Brenda can't see it. Blinded to it. Has to avert their eyes in a different way. To talk about this now is blasphemous. It goes against the religion. Globe religion. It would expose too many things, so we have to say nothing and assume a winning position within an argument using ad homs and taunts. It's a bad tactic, but I mean it is a tactic that does get used.
This is 7th grade. This is junior high stuff.
I don't know.
And
what
you
you're
can't
talking
figure.
about
You
with
can't.
that. That's
So I was
American,
talking.
right?
This is a Bev.
Yeah, we don't
Bev,
have
when I'm
similar sort
talking,
of schools.
Bev, when I'm talking. This is another example. I was talking. That's not a sign for you to start
I
talking.
don't think you were just talking. You were just.
I was.
On one of
I
your
was.
Rants.
I was talking. I was talking. I was explaining to you, right, that what we're talking about is what we in the States call junior high. I don't know what you call it in the shitheel town that you live in, right? The piece of shit town that you live. I don't know what you call it there. Who gives a fuck what you call it? Right. So, non-Euclidean.
Doesn't even know where it is, what it's called or anything, but knows that it's a shitty taunt. That's what I call that from Brenda. A bad attempt at trying to rile somebody up about the town that they live in. Yeah, I've got no particular affiliation to it.
Geometry is well defined.
Go on then.
Yeah, it has axioms.
Yeah,
they changed the axiom. They changed the 5th postulate.
To what? What did the 5th postulate change to?
Do we have to go through that again? Have you already forgotten?
I haven't forgotten. I'm just wondering if you.
Then why did you ask?
Bothered looking to state.
Why did you ask? Why did you ask?
Because I'm
the
asking
5th postulate.
You if you know what it is. We know what it is in Euclidean geometry and what it states, don't we? Because we've just been over that.
Right. We've been over the
Right,
fifth
so
postulate.
what does it state?
So I
in
was
the
talking
other one?
again. I was talking. That's
You were
not a sign for
probably
you to
just
start
gonna go and
talking.
try and avoid
No, I don't
answering the
care.
question.
I don't care.
'Cause that's
I
what
don't
you do.
care if I'm talking. Shut your mouth. Do you understand?
You
When I'm talking, shut your mouth.
yes, I know you have that, but you don't ever
Yes.
say anything, do you?
That's
You
because
just
you
keep saying,
interrupt constantly.
when I'm talking. Like you've had a
Because-
chance to answer this.
No,
fifth postulate
because
thing
I
that you keep
no
going
I
on.
haven't, because you constantly interrupt. You constantly interrupt. So are you going to not interrupt while I explain it to you? Can I get that? Do I have a promise from you that you won't
I'm
interrupt
not
me?
promising anything. Come on.
No, you're not going to promise. Then I'm not going to explain it to you.
Well, don't.
No, I don't have to
then.
explain it
I
to you.
mean,
But
it
nevertheless-
just shows that you don't know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. I mean, that's fine. I
No,
mean,
it doesn't.
everybody will
That doesn't
be
show
able
that at
to
all.
tell that you
That doesn't
haven't got
show
a
that
clue
at
what
all.
you're talking about.
No, I know what I'm talking about,
Well,
but you won't
everybody knows
promise
that
to not
Euclidean
interrupt me.
geometry is the one that gets used, right?
No, they don't know that.
Did he not? Oh well, I'll get a few things up then for
No,
Euclidean geometry.
so other people who have been through higher grade levels than high school know that there are different geometries with different base postulates or axioms. Everybody knows this.
What's your idea of the difference between a postulate and an axiom?
There's no difference. They're different words for the same thing.
Oh, well, there's 3 postulates and I've got 12 axioms. What
there's
about you?
there's 5 postulates in Euclidean geometry.
Well, I see in the thingy I've got 3
There
postulates and 12 axioms.
there are 5.
How does that work?
There are 5 postulates or
it seems like
axioms
you've
in
got the
Euclidean
shortened version, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point there, right? I just made. Brenda's only got 5, but I've got like 15. So is mine more definitive, more exact with the axioms? Or is Brenda's book just thrown a load of the axioms out? I mean, what's happened to the other ones that Brenda hasn't got?
He's making the stuff up,
Yeah, obviously.
but it is very poor performance.
One of the best axioms, I think, within this, which I know Brenda doesn't even imagines even there, is 2 straight lines cannot enclose a space.
Therefore, it cannot produce a geometrical figure.
Well, that's the one that backs the what they call the 5th postulate. There is a place where 2 lines cannot enclose a space. But Brenda thinks, because Brenda thinks 2D balls have a surface of 2D, Brenda thinks that 2 straight lines can enclose a space. And that's worth thinking about, right? Because geometry is the way geometry is, there are rules laid out and there are axioms that Brenda just doesn't even imagine are there, which opens up the mind to all of these paraconsistent logics and stuff. It's the only way you can have these things as they are.
Yeah, there's 5.
There's 12 axioms in my book and 3 postulates. So that's 15 altogether. You seem to be missing a few. Are you sure you're right? Did you get the right one? Or not? Maybe you might have them as common notions or something like that. I don't know what your Euclidean book is like. Do you have your Euclidean the elements at hand there, Brenda? Who wrote the copy that you use? I've got.
I don't worship.
I've got a Todd Hunter.
So when you ask me a question, you have to shut the fuck up. So you asked me what my postulates are. So there's just one that's changed in elliptical non-Euclidean geometry, which is the fifth. Yeah, that's one way, or spherical, whichever way you want to call it.
Right? They're different though, aren't they? They are different. Yeah. You know they're different, don't you? Don't you? You didn't. Shocking. Yeah, they're different. Which one do you want to pick?
So, in elliptical geometry,
you're going with elliptical.
Not spherical.
Okay. So I'm not talking to you. You can't help yourself. You keep interrupting me as soon as I start talking.
Well, you keep going on about non-Euclidean geometry, and you just flip-flop between two really quickly then. I don't even think you understood that they're both different non-Euclidean geometries, but hey, I've been trying
for the last half hour to explain it to you, but you won't let me.
Okay. Elliptical.
You won't shut your fucking mouth.
Oh. Well,
shut your fucking mouth.
Right.
Shut up.
Well, let's see what we can
Shut
learn.
up. Let's shut up.
Yep.
In elliptical geometry, it's given a line and a point not on that line, right? There are no lines parallel to the given line that can be drawn through the point.
No parallels.
In hyperbolic, I thought you were going to let me talk. In hyperbolic geometry, given a line with no point, with a point not on that line, there are infinite many lines parallel to the given line that can be drawn through the point. Okay, so that's well defined. You said non-Euclidean is not well defined. I just given you well defined.
Yeah, so the one that you went with though has no parallel lines as one of the axioms, right? It states that there are no parallel lines. Okay.
There are no lines parallel to the given line that can be drawn through that point, not on the line.
Yeah, no parallel lines is what it states. Because that was what was up with Euclidean geometry, the parallel line postulate, right? So they had to do away with parallel lines in spherical geometry.
Well, in spherical or elliptical? Which one?
Whichever one you want to go with. They both have no parallel lines, don't they?
Oh, are they both the same?
No, they're not.
They're not?
No.
What's the difference?
What's should the difference? Know, don't you? You're the one that's going with it.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Tell me what's the difference.
No. I know how this game gets played, Brenda.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Tell me what the difference is.
No, you.
No.
Use that geometry. I don't use that geometry. I use Euclidean. I can go to my book and state all of the things that I'm going to state from my book with the definitions and the axioms and the postulates and the proofs within. Right? I can do that with Euclidean geometry. You keep spouting not that geometry, right? So you presumably have your own books that you can access at any time you wish.
I don't have sacred books of geometry that I worship.
Okay.
I just can look it up. I can just look it up on a mathematics. I can just look it up on a mathematics site.
Mm-hmm. Off you go.
Or I can just refer to the stuff.
Perpendicular. Give us your definition of perpendicular. Or even better, give us the definition of a sphere within your geometry.
That is genius. Because in the geometry that Brenda's talking about, i.e. not Euclidean geometry, stated that there are no parallel lines, means that squares can't exist because squares are made up of parallel lines, right? The opposite sides are parallel. So Brenda's asking for what geometry it is and what the difference is, and it isn't. Doesn't even exist. Because there's no definition of a square in something that has no parallel lines, because the square is made up of opposite sides that are parallel. The same as the geometry is two-dimensional, therefore it doesn't ever make it into the 3 dimensions, and a sphere is a 3-dimensional shape, so there's no definition of a sphere in non-Euclidean geometry. It's not possible. Doesn't exist. A sphere only exists in Euclidean geometry. Book 11.
I was going to say,
solid.
you stop that train right there.
Yeah.
That question.
And by the way, if you cut with diagonal the square, which is not existent on spherical surface, therefore triangles also cannot exist.
Yeah, yeah. There's no such thing as all sorts of things, but it's all based around this one axiom that Brenda thinks you can just change. Brenda imagines that within a perfectly formed geometric system that maintains the truth value throughout, if you can change one of those things in the middle of it, you can then change the entire geometry and still keep that truth value. Truth is, you can't. It's not possible.
It's working like domino. If you push one piece, the other are falling apart.
Yeah. Yeah, and Brenda also, like a lot of people that assume all you do is get rid of the change this one tricky sort of axiom / postulate, right, to mean something else, completely forgetting that within the definitions that come before the axioms, there is a definition for parallel straight lines, stating that they do not touch. So you can't just change an axiom and forget about the definition of parallel lines. I mean, why have a definition of parallel lines that later to say that there are no parallel lines? I mean, where else has anybody ever heard of a definition of something that isn't there? Doesn't exist. It's completely mental. But this is the mind of the globe earth believer. The truly afflicted. That's a good one. I thought of that one today, actually. I think that's shout out DP.
Where can you demonstrate non-Euclidean geometry?
Yeah, just give us a definition of a sphere.
Anywhere?
I don't think there's any way you can do that. The moment you do it in reality, then it's 3D and it's 3 space. You know, Euclidean.
It's the weirdest thing, non-Euclidean geometry. It's like, it's non-geometry.
Yeah.
What's demonstratable and provable in the real world is some other conceptual thing that you can't demonstrate or prove anywhere.
Yep.
Like,
entirely conceptual, right?
Yeah.
Something that doesn't actually exist, only exists in a concept, they imagine can outdo the actual proofs from reality of a very provable system.
one against the other, it's just a slam dunk, total annihilation all day long.
Well,
Euclidean geometry.
when we went over last night with Kevin stated about I can't even remember what it was. It was in that long stream of things, but a definition of something has to be built upon certain things, right?
The tree, the genus and the species and the differentiate.
You had to go back
those
one.
Three things.
Yeah, you have to go back one, say what it is that it was doing, and then what differentiates it from the genus. Was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yep. Genus, and then what differentiates it? Yeah.
Now, what this is, Brenda states, is not that, right? So they've gone back. They've gone, well, there's Euclidean geometry, definitely well defined. You don't really need to do much else other than, to say Euclidean geometry. And that would be the genus, right, of this. And their definition of this new one to go from that is not that. That's how they differentiate from their new geometry from the genus of Euclidean geometry. They just say, yeah, not that.
Well, that's a good point to bring up as it relates to what we did last night. Is they negated, remember we talked about negation? They negated Euclidean geometry, but then left it alone. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
So you can't use Euclidean geometry, number one, because you negated it. It's non-Euclidean. And then you didn't say what it is. So there are no definitions. There are no axioms. There's nothing. So what is it that you have? You have imaginary geometry, which the inventor of the thing said it was. Truly is. It's a thought exercise. That's all. Brenda's pretty upset about a thought exercise, I think.
Yeah. In your geometry, and be sweet. Not that geometry. How many people have you got in your team? Or are you doing this solo?
You think there's a team?
Yeah, you guys always work in a team, don't you? Have you not got like the
excuse me when you excuse me
yeah,
piece of shit
that non-logic though.
Yeah,
parallel. Yeah,
it works great for everything. You just say yeah, not that.
yeah, that's like what you're talking about.
It's like, oh, you've got a new car, have you? What's it like? Well, it's not like that one.
I can tell you one thing. It's not that car right across the street from me.
Yeah.
Not that one.
Yeah.
What color is it?
Oh.
It's not red. Oh, man. How much you pay for it? Not 20 grand.
It's so negative, isn't it? Like how to not define anything that then leads into a discussion about what the not isn't, right? They turn it round to flip it around on you so that you end up telling them their argument, right? Because that's what they do. The genius is at it. They've been doing it for ages, particularly to flat earthers. Flat earthers tell them about their model more than they talk about their own model because they know they can't talk about it.
Yeah. It's not horizontal. It's not flat.
Yeah. It's just not that.
Oh, I don't... yeah.
The not that way of defining things has become an art form.
yet people still argue and talk about it. I mean, this is going to come up again.
Excuse me, piece of shit. When I'm talking and answering you, shut the fuck up. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes, we sit in a room in the CIA, right? And we pass notes to each
So
other. Yeah,
no
you got
geometry, no
I bet you're
logic,
getting-
and no reason at all.
No.
That's why they're around. Just playing around. You ever get the feeling like we have a serious topic and we have facts and logic and geometry and surveying and everything, and they're just kind of like, yeah, it's not that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, our proof isn't that, or our evidence isn't that. Well, what is it? Just not that. And then it could be, well, what sort of proof do you think we've got? Because they know they haven't got anything. They can't engage in the conversation. It is pretty sad. Don't want to dishearten everyone, like the futility of talking to people that are like this, but sometimes you can learn things.
You're laughed at right now, Brenda, aren't you?
we sit in a room at the CIA, right?
Oh, actually,
we
it's
pass
very
notes to
entertaining
each other
to
as
talk to
we
them. You can learn a lot about ignorance.
Are you listening in on the video I've got on? Cleary.
No, sorry.
Yeah, I've got a video on. Are you out driving? So you might not be able to hear it because of the bandwidth. Going over Brenda, talking about. Well, I mean, it was about 2D balls, but we're getting to the end. Last 20 minutes, the final triggering.
As we talk to flat earthers. Yep, you got it. You got it. You nailed it, buddy. I don't know how you did it. You're such a genius. You're such a genius.
So a lot to say about that, Brenda.
But
not much to
So
say
you're
about
such
his
a genius.
question about a sphere. You would rather talk about ad homs and CIA.
Yeah, that's all. That's all he does, isn't it? Right?
That's what I'm hearing. Plenty of open air, Brenda.
What?
Plenty of open air for you to define.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking to my colleagues at the CIA.
Okay.
Oh, geez.
Because the genius
How well
here,
are they doing?
The
Are they
genius
going to give you an answer yet or not?
The genius
Is
here.
it a bit of a
the
tough
genius
one?
here figured it out.
We're still waiting.
Waiting for what?
A definition within your geometry that is not Euclidean of a sphere, please.
It's a set of distances equidistant from a central point.
Is that on a two-dimensional surface?
No, that would be in a three-dimensional surface.
Oh.
Three-dimensional space.
But you're not talking about either of those two geometries that you were just talking about earlier, then, are you? Because they're the geometry of a two-dimensional surface of a sphere, right? Can you not remember why you came?
You got stuck now. The moment we do turn it back to geometry, Brenda's got stuck.
He slipped. Mistake.
Yeah. It's hard to maintain that truth value when you're talking shit. It's really hard. And this was at the beginning of this 2D, 3D thing. I mean, I'm not too sure how anybody else would deal with it.
I think he forgot what he was lying about.
Yeah.
Came in, Brenda, with that was the two-dimensional thing. That's what you you got upset.
No, we're not.
And thought that me talking about two-dimensional balls was sexual. Can you not remember that?
Yes. Yes, it is sexual. Yes, and I was upset.
Flat balls are sexual.
So the point is that a sphere is a set of points equidistant from a central point, or defining the radius.
Yep.
Yeah. The surface of a sphere is two-dimensional, as I showed to you last night.
Well, not really. It's three-dimensional, isn't it? I mean, you just imagine it to be two-dimensional, don't you? The actual
how many numbers
of a sphere is three-dimensional.
That's not true. How many numbers does it take to describe any point on the surface of a sphere?
Are you fixing it upon an axis?
How many numbers does it take to describe
numbers?
Or any? Yes. How many numbers? How many coordinates does it take to describe any point on the surface of a sphere?
You
it's
can't
two.
tell where the top is, can you? So, like, as soon
It's
as the
two.
ball rolls,
You only need
the coordinates on that
we're
ball
talking about
are useless.
we're talking about,
aren't they?
so we're talking about math. We're talking about math, not real things.
Talking
right?
about geometry.
You tried to obfuscate like this last night, right?
You think you
That's
start talking numbers when
that's
we're
how I know that you're a liar.
shapes.
That's how I know you're a liar, right? When you try to deflect like this. So how many numbers does it take to uniquely define any point on the surface of a sphere?
You
not
tell
a ball.
You tell us, Brenda.
No, you're the one that thinks
no.
it's three-dimensional.
No, you're the one.
You're the one that thinks
they can do something with numbers on a ball. Do you want to write them on the ball or something?
Yeah, you can't figure that out.
I can't.
You don't know
out
what coordinates
the fuck
are.
You're talking about, Brenda. No.
Yes, you don't know what coordinates are. You don't know what coordinates are.
No.
I have to go over this. Brenda's talking about how many numbers, coordinates does it need for a ball. I said, are you going to fix it? Brenda said, no. So a ball can roll. How do you know where the point is? In space, it can be anywhere because the ball can roll.
Anyway, in space, it means 3D space. You need 3 coordinates: X, Y, Z.
Yeah, in three-dimensional space.
Of course.
So any point would also need all of those three anywhere.
Yeah.
But a ball could roll. So those coordinates that you had for the ball wouldn't mean a thing. Because you wouldn't be able to fix the axis in any way. You wouldn't be able to fix the x-axis, the y-axis, or the z-axis with respect to the ball.
Yes. It would be futile.
Yeah. Brenda doesn't seem to realise that, but I mean, Brenda's locked into some sort of an argument that isn't really an argument, and I'm not too sure that Brenda understands about it, because I used to say at the beginning of this, the easiest way out is to just not engage with this argument. I mean, it's took them a while for them to learn it, and that's why they're not coming round here now. That's why they're spamming the chat, the YouTube.
I think they are plotting new tactics about this argument.
Yeah, they just have to avoid having the argument or the discussion, rather, because it's not much of an argument. The argument's dead and buried very easily when it's backed with Euclidean geometry, right? Where all the proofs are.
No.
Why are you turning around on him? Just explain your
because he's the one.
whatever you're trying
He's
to
the
do.
one. because he's the moron that thinks that the surface of a sphere is three-dimensional, and that means
We get why
that
you're attacking him.
Do you ask
there,
ask
that
Dave.
means
Ask
that there
Dave
must
about
be
the
that
surface
means
of the sphere.
that means that there must be three. Means that there must be three dimensions that
just
need to
ask
be
him.
specified.
Ask him, Brenda.
Go ahead. What are the three numbers that uniquely describe any single point on the surface of a sphere?
Dave, you know, like there's a sphere. It's three-dimensional. It's a three-dimensional object, right? Now, the surface of that sphere. Would you say that's three-dimensional or two-dimensional?
Two-dimensional.
Sorry?
He said two-dimensional.
You said two.
The surface is 3 dimensions, and we view it. The surface of the sphere.
Yeah, the surface of the sphere is two-dimensional. The sphere, Brenda.
Yes,
when you look at a sphere, you see the surface of that sphere. Now, I see
you keep saying these obvious things that any child can figure out. But it only has two
dimensional, Brenda. When I
look
it doesn't.
It has only two.
A sphere, I see three-dimensional surface.
Yes, the sphere is three-dimensional. The surface is two-dimensional.
No.
So here we go. You're looking at a sphere. Now, you can tell it's a sphere because you say, that's a ball. You don't say, that's a circle. Because a circle is a two-dimensional shape. You say it's a sphere because you know it's three-dimensional. That's how you can differentiate between three-dimensional and two-dimensional. A circle is a two-dimensional shape. A sphere is not two-dimensional because you can tell it's a sphere or a ball in reality.
And circle encompasses a flat plane, but sphere cannot.
Yeah.
So this is difference. So you need third coordinate to measure, because dimension means measure or measurement or measurable. So it is connected with measurement. So you use coordinates to measure. So you cannot measure a three-dimensional object with two coordinates. It's impossible.
Latitude and longitude are only two-dimensional coordinates. That's half of the reason they have to live on a two-dimensional surface of a sphere. Because latitude and longitude are two-dimensional coordinates, much like northings and eastings. That's one of the paralogisms, isn't it? The contradictions.
But these lines are curved, and curved line need two coordinates, not one. Only straight line need one coordinate, and straight line can coordinate itself. But curved line needs two coordinates.
That's right. What shape is the surface of a sphere? Spherical, three-dimensional. They like to pretend like it's 2D.
Yeah. They want to say circular to something that's spherical. I mean, it is crazy, and that's their paralogism, right? That for them to deal with. But if I'm right, then they won't be able to see the paralogism. They literally can't see the difference between 2D and 3D, because acknowledging that difference would then have implications for their model, whatever model that may be, and it's shielding them from from seeing this stuff for themselves.
The surface,
the sphere is three-dimensional.
The sphere, a sphere.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. It's the bit where the
no,
sphere
what makes it a sphere
isn't, and where it is. It's where them two join together. That is the surface.
Yeah, the surface of the sphere is not the same as the sphere itself.
I mean, look, Brenda, I say it's 3-dimensional, right? You say it's 2-dimensional, but you only say it's 2-dimensional because you want to live on the surface of a 2D surface, right? That's what you want to live on because you know that's reality, right?
So I just want you to be honest.
No, you're not going to find any curvature in water level. So therefore, you have to imagine that you live on a 2-dimensional surface of a sphere. It's just in your mind, Brenda.
No, that's not anything to do with this. But when you try to distract like this, that's how I know that you're a lying sack of shit.
I'm just talking about reality, Brenda. When I see a sphere,
we're talking about math. We're talking about math.
Dimensional.
No, it's not. The surface.
It's a 3-dimensional shape that is bound by a surface that is 3-dimensional.
No, it doesn't say that. Your quote does not say that at all.
It does. It says a surface.
No, it does not. You're lying again. You're lying. You're a lying sack of shit.
Is length, breadth, and thickness, and then it says that which bounds the object is
a surface.
Yeah.
So and a surface is 2-dimensional. No, it doesn't say that.
It doesn't say that. 3-dimensional.
It does not.
Surface has to go round a 3-dimensional object. You can't put a 2-dimensional surface on a 3-dimensional object, can you?
How can you cover a 3-dimensional object with a 3-dimensional object? How can you do that?
That's what a sphere is, isn't it? The surface is all the way round the 3-dimensional object.
How can you cover a 3-dimensional object, the sphere, with a 3-dimensional object, the surface of the sphere?
The surface of the sphere is what bounds the sphere, right?
They're one and the same.
Yeah. Same thing.
How can you?
Same thing.
He said you cover it. He said cover.
No, they're one and the same.
No, the boundary is 2-dimensional. The boundary is 2-dimensional.
If you want to find
the boundary is 2-dimensional.
You get your geometry book.
I already told you. You
find us the definition within your.
I told you.
Geometry.
I already told you. I already told you.
Of a surface.
Did you forget already? I already told you. I already told you.
Where?
A sphere is.
I've heard a lot.
I told you.
You've already told me. You've not said anything. You keep
yes,
saying
I did.
You've already told me, but
that's because
it's just that you've already told me that you've already told me. You didn't actually
I already told
ever
you.
tell me.
You have the brain of a goldfish, and it wants it back.
We've heard all that.
I told you what it is. A sphere is the set of points equidistant from a central point.
Show us it. Look.
Show us it.
Brenda just said a series of points. And what is a point? A nothing. Quite rightly, right? Brenda's hit upon the fact that the sphere and the circle aren't really things. They're just an accumulation of points at the end of a radius that can't ever be used all together. Only certain points can be used at a time, and you need to be able to draw straight lines between them in order for you to be able to do any geometry on them at all. Well, straight lines. The 2 points are what needed.
Within Brenda logic, it means that the surface of the sphere has 0 dimensions because if it is infinite number of points and these points have nothing more than position, they have no thickness, no length, etc., Therefore, they have no dimension. The surface of the sphere cannot have any dimension within Brenda's logic. It's, of course, absurd.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call it Brenda's logic. I'd just say that it's illogical, right? To imagine that there is some sort of conclusion to be come to.
Sarcastic.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a good point that Brenda brings up, that showing that the sphere and the circle aren't, they can't really do much with it. That's why pi is transcendental. The square root of 2 also, same thing. They're numbers that can't be reached. There's no definitive number for a reason. And I think that's based upon the fact that this circle doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. You can only use the points once you give them a location. And then you can start applying them to make triangles and stuff around the points that you've found of an equal radius. So it's just an equality of a line that you're after. The fundamentals of what a circle is the similar radius values that can be used.
I have a question for you. Go on. Unless you want to finish this off real quick, and then something struck me about.
There's 8 minutes left on this.
Yeah, do you want to get through it and then I'll come back to it?
Well, will you remember?
Yeah, I'll remember.
All right, okay, hopefully we'll get through this quick. I don't think there's much left of it.
Yeah. Show is it?
Yeah. I was going to show you there, right? In book 11, definitions, first one. A solid is that which has length, breadth, and thickness. Number 2, that which bounds a solid is a superficies, surface, right?
Yeah, that doesn't support your claim.
It sure does.
I called that surface, but I'm not too sure now. Superficies and surface may be distinctly different. For geometric purposes, the definitions state superficies, but surface comes in a bit later, or maybe in other books, and there's a difference between a superficies and a surface, which I think we might get into within the grammar. But there's a definite difference in my mind now. And I guess I played into the fact of equivocating the two, whereas I don't think I should have done.
Would you mind letting me in there so I can see it?
Letting you in?
Your mind.
Hang around for a bit.
I'm not clear on superficies yet.
Well, I think the superficies is the idea that it's a geometric construct, right? It's the ideal, right?
No, I think that superficies is rather the same, such as the surface. It's generally same, I think.
Well, they do mention planes, right? And so there's a distinction between a plane and a superficies. And later on, they do have a surface as well. Now, I believe, me personally, that the surface is the reality link. So you can touch the surface of a ball. I don't now think that you would call that a superficies, because a superficies is the geometric construct behind what it is that you're imagining, right?
So it's not tangible, you're saying?
Yeah, I think the superficies is the geometric construct that to be imagined. If you were to, let's say, make a keystone for your archway or whatever, then if you were drawing it out, then you would draw it out geometrically, and you would have superficies. But the moment you then translated that into the reality stone, you would have the surface of the stone. The mason would be chipping away at the surface.
Right. It's, I guess it'll, yeah, okay. I understand what you're saying, but that word doesn't just create a picture in my head yet. So
yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Bev.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
the surface is two-dimensional.
It's a genius work of logic. First off, he says that a solid, which is that which has length, breadth, and thickness. That's length 1, breadth 2, thickness 3. 3 dimensions.
Yes.
Yep.
That's the sphere.
That which bounds a solid is its surface.
Listen. You need to stop this. You need to stop this. I'm just going to stop. You stop interrupting me.
Please do.
Stop interrupting me. Stop interrupting. So it says the surface. It doesn't say the solid itself is not the same as its surface.
It says the surface bounds it.
Yes. You're a fucking moron.
Well, you admit that it's three-dimensional and the surface is around the outside of it, right? I mean...
Right, but the surface is two-dimensional. No, the solid is three-dimensional. The surface of the solid is two-dimensional.
I guess we're just going to have to disagree, Brenda.
Well, you're wrong even by Euclid. You're wrong even by Euclid. The solid is three-dimensional. The surface of a solid is two-dimensional.
No,
yes, it is.
Specifically states
yes, it is.
A reclarification of the surface within the solid geometry, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't say that, and it'd just refer back to the earlier surface of two-dimensional geometry, right?
It says that which bounds.
States it's
excuse
a new
me,
one.
I was talking. I'm talking. It says that which bounds a solid is a surface.
Yeah.
That which bounds a solid is a surface.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Sure does.
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't say the surface is three-dimensional. It says the solid is.
I have to point out in this as well that Euclid, being very stringent about what they do, if there was no change in what they deemed as superficies to be, there would be no change in the definition because there's no need. Well, there's obviously a redefinition of a superficies. At the moment he touches into 3 dimensions, their redefinition of a superficies also follows into the 3 dimensions. If there was no change in what a superficies was, there would be no need to redefine it again within the 3-dimensional construct of what they're doing. It's pretty simple to me to see that in all of the cases, i.e. polygons, surfaces, shapes with flat sides on them, the superficies, the old definition, still stands. But for one shape, it has to be redefined, and that shape is specifically the sphere. It's the only shape that there needed to be a redefinition for this from, because before everything was 2D. You can't say that the surface of a sphere is still 2D when there's a redefinition that's needed. It's not needed for cubes. It's not needed for pyramids. It's not needed for anything really, other than, well, it's not needed for even for cones and developable surfaces, shapes with developable surfaces, because they can still be developed onto a 2D. So there's only one shape that it's meant for, and that's a sphere with a non-developable surface.
And that was actually going to be related to my question.
Oh, right.
Right. Because that's the thing that gets me is, you know, if I think about a covering, so what came to my mind when Brenda was going off about, well, you said it was a cover or something like that, she was saying.
Yeah.
I was thinking in my mind, you know, if I have my desk here or a barbecue grill or something, anything, it's obviously 3D, right? Length, width, and depth. And I get a cover for it. That cover is going to conform to the 3D object. It will be 3D. It is 3D, right? So, but how does that work on a sphere? How do you, and what I mean to say is I could take a flat side, like you were saying, of a cube or my desktop or whatever, and yes, I can measure that, but how does that work on a sphere? How do they say it works on a sphere? I totally don't understand that at all. Makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Well,
it would mean that balloons are 2D objects.
Yeah, well, they must be, right?
Yeah, the surface.
The surface is 2D.
Every surface is 2D. Anything you can touch has to be 2D. Well, as soon as you go down this line, there can't be
It's
a
like
difference.
they don't understand what the dimensions are. They don't understand what D is. Dimension or something. Clearly there's some kind of misunderstanding there, or they just have to get to a certain destination, which is what I think is like more likely.
Yeah, it's because
That
they want to be
their
2D
surface of a
Earths.
sphere has to. Yeah, it has to be. Well, then I see when you're saying they're the real flat earthers, because 2D is a plane. It's a flat plane.
Yeah. Yeah, and they'll like Brenda fight tooth and nail for this. 2D balls.
I think that Brenda doesn't distinct between plane and curved surface. Curved surface needs additional coordinates. Plane surface doesn't.
Yeah. That's the difference. It moves in the other dimension, doesn't it?
Yes, that's why curved surface is like curved line. Straight line needs only one coordinate. The curved line needs two coordinates. So we are creating area encompassing with for example, a circle, which is curved line. So for curved surface, you need third coordinate. For me, this is very simple, but I don't understand what Brenda is talking about, sincerely.
Just have a conversation with anybody and try and get into this argument. I don't think anybody really gets the... It's like the simplicity of it all doubles back on itself. And people end up saying, well, it can't be that simple. Where I think it actually is. It really is. We're going to get, there's only 5 minutes left.
Solid, though, doesn't it? I mean, like, Can you imagine a
yes.
sphere, right, rolls along the ground? Now, that's because the ground would be a flat surface, 2-dimensional, and the ball would be 3-dimensional. That's what gives it the ability to roll. Can you imagine if it was 2-dimensional, how well it would roll?
Did I say that
floor?
the solid is Did I say the solid is 2-dimensional?
No, you said you think the surface is 2-dimensional.
Right.
But it's 3-dimensional. You've just
So
said.
why did you pretend that I said that the solid was 2-dimensional?
I don't know.
Right, how bad's that? As the ball is rolling, the ball in Brenda's mind, 2D surface, floor, flat piece of plane or whatever is a 2D surface. So there's a 2D surface touching a 2D surface. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just crazy.
But Brenda's sort of saying, how can you not understand that they have two 2Ds that are completely separate, but the same definition?
Why did you pretend
the surface bound?
Because you're a liar.
Solid, right?
Because you're a liar and a fraud. That's why. You lie. You misrepresent people.
Thinking you live on a 2-dimensional
yeah,
surface. I'm fine with that.
I don't think that. Oh. But this is what you do constantly.
Do you not think you live on
you
the
misrepresent? Excuse me. I was talking.
Do you not?
You fucking piece of shit. I'm talking.
Do you not
Shut up.
You live on a ball?
Shut up. Shut up. I'm talking.
Sphere, then.
So shut up. I don't talk. Shut up. So when I'm talking, shut your fucking mouth. Start acting like a fucking adult, you fucking child.
That was an extra loud slurp. Yeah.
I don't talk much, but that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was so good.
You were
right.
saying?
So the solid is 3-dimensional.
You were
Its
saying?
surface is 2-dimensional. You don't seem to be able to even understand this. You can't even get Euclid right. You don't understand Euclidean geometry at all. You don't understand it.
But you don't even use it anyway. You have your own one, don't you?
No, that's not true.
You're not that Euclidean.
That's not true.
Oh,
That's
so you
not
are
how...
coming back to Euclid then.
No,
it's
not a
come back.
It's not a shut up. It's not a religion, right? People, it's a tool. People use Euclidean, non-Euclidean, elliptical, and depends on the situation.
Go on, give us a situation.
Here we go. I think Cleary said this at the beginning, didn't he? Like, where? Go on. Give us it. Go on. Just one. That's all we're after. One example of where we can use non-Euclidean geometry. Other than in an argument.
Right. If you're calculating orbits, you're going to need to use a little non-Euclidean geometry because orbital spacecraft follow non-Euclidean geodices.
Orbits are, actual orbits are a straight line that returns back on itself. But forget about that because that's a little bit confusing. You might get thinking that it's a straight line, which it is. But, let's take the concept that it's a circle, an orbit. That's Euclidean, isn't it?
Yeah, sure is.
So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty apparent that this non-Euclidean geometry doesn't actually exist.
It's just an entity that they like to assume they can go to that makes it sound like they're very clever.
I'm asking, Beth, when did they start touting non-Euclidean?
When did they? Well, the first person that told me was Fight the Flat Earth, and he started doing that because I said level is a straight line on a horizontal plane, and he said straight lines curve. And I said, what do you mean? How do they do that? And he said, non-Euclidean geometry. I think that's where it stops, really. 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
2 minutes. Go on.
It was, yeah, to be clear, though, it was invented in the early 1800s. I mean, that's when the imaginary geometry was, was the thought exercise happened. And then over time, it was their way of proving 'tis globe. But nobody knows about non-Euclidean geometry.
How can you know about it? There's,
I know,
there's
right?
no definitions,
There's
there's
nothing to
no
know.
axioms, there's no proofs, there's no propositions, there's no logic to frame around it. Just a non-argument, and not that argument, and not that definition.
Yeah. Not that one, and I don't substitute one of my own. Usually they say, I deny your reality and substitute one of my own. They don't even substitute one of their own. They just get rid of Euclid and then just leave everything hanging, apparently.
Yeah, well, like, what do you imagine I should use that if I'm not using that thing that you can prove? Right, 2 minutes left, and when
in
we're
relation
done,
to the Earth,
Geodesics.
because the Earth, geodesies.
Yeah. You okay with that? Did you get a nod from the team? All the guys in the room with you? This is thumbs up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good.
This is how paranoid you are.
Yeah, I did listen to this.
Calculating orbits, you're going to need to use a little non-Euclidean geometry, because orbital spacecraft follow non-Euclidean geodesics.
Right, geodesics. That's just been read, hasn't it?
Yeah,
that's been read. Literally, eyes have read the letters and put together geodesics.
Yep.
Not geodesies or anything like that. No. Geodesics.
In relation to the
correction
Earth.
comes.
Because the Earth, geodesics.
There you go. It's a correction. Well done. Yeah? You okay with that? Did you get a nod from the team? All the guys in the room with you? This is thumbs up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good.
This is how paranoid you are. This is how paranoid you are.
Do you mean geodetics? Or maybe
this
geodesics?
Is how paranoid. This is how paranoid you are. You're so paranoid.
Geodesics. I like them. They sounds better though. It sounds a bit.
How long have you been this paranoid? Do you take medication?
Again, Brenda's struggling.
Do you take medication for your paranoia?
Not paranoid at all.
Yes, you are. You think that I'm in a room.
No, you
with
were
other
saying
people.
earlier that you were in a room. You think I'm in a room with the CIA people that I was talking about earlier.
He was in a room with some mates, with some agency or what?
Yeah, CIA agents. That's what Brenda was saying. And now it's changed completely. With a load of people. Are you not now?
Yeah.
Are you telling us you were delusional when you were saying that earlier?
Do you think I was being honest, or do you think I was being a little bit facetious. Do you know what the word facetious?
Do you think I was being honest? Like, there you go. Don't believe a word Brenda says, because you might not be being honest.
This means.
Do I
You never
think
know.
you were being honest? I'll go with that one.
I'd like to answer that.
I was joking. It was joking. I was joking.
So
because
should we
you were
not
the one-
expect you to be honest then whenever we're talking?
No, I was joking.
okay. I mean, I
because
can do
you
that
were
from
the.
now on then.
Excuse me. I'm fucking talking.
Sounds fine.
I've been doing it a while.
You're fucking talking over me all the time. Just knock it the fuck off.
It's all right, Brenda. I don't believe you.
Yeah. We don't think you're telling the truth. Are you
we
joking?
know when you say knock
Brenda's
it off,
gone.
stop talking. Like we know you're not. You're only joking, right? Is she gone?
It was anticlimactic.
Yeah, always. You just leave. Right? Just,
Yeah, it was
just leave.
anticlimactic. I was hoping for a big boom.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. But,
well, the big boom is you look at the psyche of a person.
Yeah.
They can't live within themselves for who they are. Or, better yet, what they live on. You don't live on a 2D surface. I can dig up under and get more dirt, rocks, dig down, get more water. It's 3D.
Yep, sure is 3D.
I don't get the idea, though, that Brenda, right, has a positive argument. It's this, not that argument is more and more apparent, right? And Brenda shows within this one particularly that the not that argument falls, and the way to spot the not that argument is to ask them to define what it is then. And whenever you find out there isn't a well, this is what it is, it's not that, it's this. When there is no this presented, then you know that the argument is just a basic not that argument, and they should be dismissed.
You can't gain any knowledge from that person. To me, I can only speak for me in the room.
Yeah, and I like this argument because the 2D 3D thing is really easy, and it wraps around that full contradiction to find that they are actually the ones that contradict themselves by fighting for a 2-dimensional surface that they want to live on. Their model has a 2-dimensional surface, so therefore they must want to live on a 2-dimensional surface. And that must be a tough thing to realize. Especially if you have a hatred of flat earthers.
But if the curved surface of supposed globe is two-dimensional, it means also that mountains are two-dimensional also.
Yeah. Which is why it pains them when I say it's not flat. It's obviously not flat. RH is put in the chat there. How does arguing that a sphere has a 2D surface help support the globe in any way? It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That's the hilarity of it. They've ended themselves up down a cul-de-sac somewhere. They've backed themselves into a corner only to realise that they are the 2D earthers. And where do you go from that? When you realise that the people you've been arguing against and you've been handing a label to flat earthers to ridicule
they're actually they are the people that they've been doing that to. They've only been labeling people flat earthers so they can point at them and laugh at them. Because if they don't do that, they'll have to come to the realization that it is them that they're making the joke out of. They are the actual, in their minds at least, the concept of it, 2D earthers. They have to be the at least conceptual 2D earthers at a point. At least at the point where the two touch, which is where you are on their globe model all the time. Blue Marble's stuck in 2D. He can't get out of that plane geometry bit, can he? He's not realizing that he's got the big paralogism. The great paralogism has given him and not allowed him to get out of 2D. Should come into 3D reality, Blue. It'll help you in the long run. Stop being a 2D earther. Brenda's making you look bad. But, I mean, if you want to go and help Brenda, that's good for you. Might get a good bit of content, eh, Blue? Go over it. Do yourself a live stream or something.
A match made from heaven.
Mm-hmm. Blue's defending Brenda's 2D balls. It's coming in going, hey, you guys, leave Brenda's 2D balls alone, will ya? Blue might be eyeing them up. It's really strange because Blue says about the by definition. Well, a superficies in 2D geometry is length times breadth. But it gets redefined in book 11 to that which bounds the solid or the object. So there is a different definition, Blue. It's strange that you can't see it. I'll get it just in case.
Yeah, there's not as I understand it, you correct me if I'm wrong, because you know geometry far better than I do, but there's not a 2D on a 3D. There's no such thing. It's either 2D, the thing, whatever the thing is, or it's 3D. There isn't a 2D on a 3D or a 1D on a 3D.
Yeah, a 1D on a 2D.
Or a 1D on a 2D.
How do you get to one without the other?
You can think about 2D only.
1D. I'm sorry, Paper. Go ahead.
For example, if you have a cube, you can take one of the surfaces, but you have 6 surfaces on the cube. So you can take separately one section of the surface and say that this is 2D, but this is also flat. But if you are talking about sphere, you cannot do that because you have to divide this surface into infinite number of flat surfaces. It is impossible. Infinite.
No, I get you, Paper. What I'm saying though is, in reality, right? If I have a Rubik's Cube in front of me, yeah, I can't take one side off. It's a 3D object. right?
Yes,
So it's
that's why
not a 2D shape. You can't have a 2D shape on a 3D object. A 3D
Yes,
object is a 3D object.
yes,
Is it
because
built as a 3D object, or does it start out as a 2D object and then it's
No.
formed into
Well,
3D?
it's a 2D object if you draw a cube on a piece of paper. That is a 2D object.
Right.
No, I am
But
talking. I was talking about one surface. This is the confusing part for the whole. If you have one surface, it means one part of surface, one side, one
right,
side
but
of the cube. It is
but
flat.
but help me understand. In reality, you can't have that. Even with a cube, you cannot take a side off of a cube. In
Yes,
reality,
yes,
and
because
if you did, it would still be 3D.
yes,
That would now
because
be a rectangle, a cube shape, not a cube shape, but a 3D rectangle.
Right. It would be.
yes, I was talking about if we are talking about surface of whole cube, it is 3D. But if we are talking, we are abstracting one of the surfaces outside of the cube, it is 2D. But one surface of a cube that does not constitute a cube. Only one surface. That's why you cannot say that this surface is a cube, but because this is only part, and part cannot be a whole.
It's the difference between the plane geometry and solid geometry is the redefinition of the superficies. Just like it redefines perpendicular as well. It says it has perpendicular to a plane, right? Because when they did the first definition of perpendicular, it was on the plane, right? It's plane geometry. The superficies is where you did all of your work. But it gets redefined. So to conflate the two and bring it back to the earlier definition on a three-dimensional thing is wrong. There's already been a redefinition of what the superficies is within solid geometry. I think that's the reason for the redefinition.
Yeah, I'm still confused as to never mind their stupid globe shit. I'm just talking about 3D objects in reality. To me, a 3D object in reality cannot have a 2D surface. I don't care what shape it is.
I agree. And
Yes,
I'm thinking about doing it on paper in school, how you built things.
It's
that's why
by virtue of the fact that it is in reality, it must be 3D.
Three-dimensional. Yep.
Yes,
Whatever
you are
it is.
talking about object. Whole object must be 3D. There are no 2D objects in reality.
Correct.
But if you are subtracting for example, one side of the pyramid, you can say that this is flat. This part of surface is flat. You can say that. But part of pyramid is not pyramid.
But yeah, if you disregard the depth, you can look at it as a 2D surface, right?
Yes, but this is not reality. This is
Not reality.
subtraction.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
And reality is not. You cannot subtract from reality and say that this is reality. It is not.
Got it. Yes. Agreed. Okay.
And it does say as well in in book 1, when they're defining the things, it says a superficies is that which has only length and breadth. And then it goes on, the extremities of a superficies are lines. And again, further definition. A plane superficies is that in which any 2 points being taken, the straight line between them lies wholly in that superficies. So that's qualifying in book 1, because we're talking about plane geometry. They're on about laying the superficies out. That's the shape, the square, the circle, the superficies.
Trying to become clearer after reading that, Bev. Thanks.
And then, obviously, in book 11, there's a redefinition. And the only the only one that there should be a redefinition for is the sphere. Because for all of the other places, that it all applies. Squares, triangles, all of that sort of stuff. It all applies as it did beforehand. But for the non-developable surfaces, superficies.
But this seventh definition, it is saying about plane superficies. It means flat.
Yeah.
That's why you can you have straight line between them. On not plane superficies, you cannot have straight line.
Yeah, but that's not needed within plane geometry, is it?
Yes,
it's not needed up until the point that he has to redefine it and say, now we're moving out of the plane.
Yes, but this is not noticeable that Euclid is talking about straight line on plane superficie, because he cannot say that just line. It must be straight line.
It works good as well with what Kevin was saying last night, the definition and the genus and what the differentiation is between that. And well, that seems to be the way the definitions are building up upon each other. They're showing the difference between what was earlier to become more and more specific around what they're talking about within the definitions. But yeah, Blue's just coming past. What he did, I think he's doing the pages. He's writing something in the chat, then he can make a marker when he goes over it on his live streams, because he's struggling for a bit of content. So he'll just be helping himself out to make a marker on it. Just leave him alone. He's making all sorts of stuff about how triggered he is. He's doing videos. How triggered he is about what we talk about. Like Brenda. They like to imagine that we're flat earthers, even though we're obviously not. "2D, 3D. Actually, Blue has done a video about us. He's gone over one of the videos. I think he's gone over the Kozlowski conundrum that we have. With the drop and the hump and the nutsack drop and Blue's unclamped hump. I really like the 2D, 3D argument. Not an argument. Well, I suppose it is, isn't it?
It's like a sparring session going over the 2D, 3D. Because you'd have to say that LIGO is on a 2D plane, being straight and all.
I must admit that I have personal impression that your discussion, let's say this was discussion, it's very similar how doctor in psychiatric clinic must have conversation with patients. But that's only me.
I think this particular argument it's pretty simple if you take the stance of geometry and logic, right? You can easily sort this out for yourself. But for the great paralogism, now, if you hold on to this paralogism / model that you've been given with no proofs, and when shown a geometric proof, you can make a pretty big mistake, I think, by relying on the model and being like Brenda. Don't be like Brenda. That could be a good motto, that. Don't be like Brenda. Says it all, really. Struggle with the model as much as you want. But can you imagine, like, if you've got a model and you're looking at somebody says, have you seen that conversation about geometry? I mean, it's a pretty good argument, seeing as that's what an argument is, logical framework of, it's a pretty good argument, that. And somebody have to say, well, yeah, we've got a geometry argument to beat that. Yeah, well, what's that? Well, it's not that argument that they've got. So don't worry about it. They don't understand their argument.
No positive claim.
Yeah. Never a positive claim. Or other than ad homs. I mean, they're always positive, aren't they? Like, is you don't understand a positive claim?
No, they're never negative claims. They're always very uplifting, positive ones. It's all good.
Their version of positive thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't much geometry we've gone over tonight, other than the fact of the basic concepts of what 2D is, which is, I guess, a fundamental of geometry. The idea of these lines / superficies / planes, they're all similar things. You have a point, a line, and a plane, and those three different states or whatever, that's what all of this geometry is based on. And for them to say not that, obviously it should be clear to everybody that that's a pretty big statement to say, not that, because you're throwing away in that not that conversation or statement. You're throwing away circles and pi and squares, triangles. You're literally throwing all of that away for because of a not that argument. But they say, oh, well, we don't mean everything not that. We just want to just mess about with one of the axioms after losing 10 of them. Call them common notions, call them whatever you want. They're axioms, basic standards of things that are true without need for substantiation or verification. They're just so obviously true. That's your starting basis.
Self-evident.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll never, for the life of me, I will never understand their fifth postulate argument. It just makes zero sense at all. The 12th axiom, while it's wordy, it is extremely easy to understand. Very easy to understand.
Yeah, once practiced, right? Just conceptually, even as long as you keep it within the line form, then most of geometry is understandable. It does get tricky at the later stages, but if you have the fundamentals and you build up slowly, understanding what comes before and keep going like that, if you don't understand something, you go back to find where the formulation of the problem is and solve that, and then build back up again until the point that you do understand it, and then you can progress. But you should never try and progress without having a full understanding of everything that leads up to that point. It's been said quite a few times within geometry. You must understand every bit as you progress. Right, has anybody got anything else you want to go over? Because I don't want to be going over too much of this stuff. I don't want to be giving Blue Marble too much material for him to go over, do we?
No, we don't want to deprive Blue of he already has content, I'm sure. We don't want to
help him out too much.
Yeah. We might be taking some away pretty soon. Some of his content he could be getting.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. We've got a deal for next Wednesday, I believe. I mean, we're just trying to have a word with the Trivium guys. We've got to make sure it's okay with Raven. Raven will be back. We're just waiting to hear confirmation from Raven that he's all right for Betty doing a 30-minute. I think he said his presentation would take about 30 minutes for him to go over. And obviously, we'll have to have at least a discussion of 30 minutes afterwards. So maybe, let's say, an hour of the Wednesday show, hopefully, next week. We have a logician, as we know, like we've been told he is anyway. He said he is. Coming in to give us a Aristotelian logic, a demonstration, a slideshow, presentation. I don't know whether he's practicing here so he can go over to Blue Ops, Globe Earth Central, and present it over there, or whether he's already presented it over there to the Globe Earthers. They may be running their own Trivium sort of thing. I wouldn't know. I don't really take much notice of what goes on in the Globe Earth, but that's looking forward to that next week. Hopefully, if we can get that to come off. But we were thinking, or we were already in the stages of slipping into logic. I think you did say, Kevin, didn't you?
Yep.
That we were going to do that yesterday. That next time we're moving into logic.
Yeah, and we have to have an introduction to logic. I mean, you had done something when we started Logic Nights back last year, but Raven and I were going to talk about an introduction to logic. Aristotle's viewpoint of logic. That is not any modern day globe scientist's view of logic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I mean, who knows?
Maybe Betty's going to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Betty's might do that for us.
He may give you the
content.
Yeah, he may give you the opposing view of what other people imagine Aristotle's logic to be.
Yeah, because he specifically said it's Aristotle's logic, right?
Yeah,
that's what he's going to cover.
Yeah, that's specifically Aristotle's logic, which is just where you said you were going. So I presume he's I don't know, he's either been preparing it for a bit, ready and waiting, or he's just decided to do it on the spur of the moment because you said that's where you want. He might want to help out.
I don't know, but I appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, a collab where we can talk civilly about something be nice. It's nice when we can do those things.
Yeah. So next level, the home of logic. Looks like it. Right. That is where you come if you want to come and talk about logic. You want to go over anything. This is the place to come.
That's right. Education.
Mm-hmm.
So now we don't hurl the kinds of insults you heard on the video tonight. That's not what we do here. We leave those for the globe scientists to do. They can have all that stuff.
You don't understand LIGO in the hump, seeing as we're going with the 2D, 3D. I think that is, but I might have to redo a Buster one. Actually, we've not mentioned that, have we? Gadget has been doing. Everybody knows Gadget is the phenomenal artist. Well, Gadget has done Buster Avatar in charcoal, pencil and charcoal.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
it is.
So good.
And I've clipped that together. Buster wants it for his videos. He wants it to run as a thing, so we're going to sort that out. All we need now is Buster to do a song to make it special, and that will be released to everybody to see. I will still keep working on it and touch it up a bit.
Yeah, I will warn people if anyone thinks that they can, they're not too bad at drawing, you may want to prep yourself for what you see from Gadget, because damn, that guy's talented. Yeah. Holy cow.
Got about 60 minutes of video when clipped together, the whole thing, so you can draw that in about 60 minutes. Amazing.
And that was an understatement, Kevin.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. It's amazing.
It's truly amazing.
Right, so what is it? Oh, it's Free for All Fridays tomorrow.
Ooh.
That'll be good. No doubt we'll be doing some gaming. Hopefully we might be able to go and hunt Bigfoot again.
Where's Emma been?
Emma will be playing games.
She's causing trouble in GTA.
Yeah, she'll be shooting Bigfoot.
She's gotten into that, huh?
Yeah, chasing Bigfoot.
Yeah. Emma and DP and Yoda.
Yeah, Paige is right. Buster needs a song about 2D, 3D. That you don't understand, or are only fools. I'll find a good one. We do need 2D, 3D geometric concepts.
Yeah, so come join us tomorrow. It is the Free for All Friday. Anybody, any discussion, any conversations, come on in. I'm going to leave you with Buster Song. And say thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming around. Thanks for listening to this. I know I had to put you through, Brenda. I wish it could have been somebody else to come across with this, but certain people are the ones that open up these arguments to us. It takes a special person to say this stupid shit. This time, 2D, 3D, that's Brenda's. But, I mean, Brenda's not the only one. Try it on a few Globers. Take the concepts of 2D, 3D, put them together, see where it takes you. See who is the real 2D earther.
The real flat earthers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, but here's Buster. You don't understand. This is Blue and George, I think. If you're listening, Blue. I know you are. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
If you were to put a bubble level on like the intersection of LIGO, that would be level. If you were to walk down the arm and place it on top of that, I would say it would not be level. That would be another good.
So you say at the split point, that's where it's level on both arms?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where they leveled it.
And what are the arms? What are the arms? If the center is level, how do you envision?
No, he said no, not the center. The apex where they both meet.
Oh, the apex.
Yeah,
sorry.
it's different.
So
it's changed.
How do you envision the end of the arms then? The other two ends.
They're just gonna go straight, and this is in the engineering.
The ends of the arms. At the end, you have the apex, and you have two arms running along, right?
Yeah.
How are they? Are they in the same level as the apex, or how do you envision them? Higher, lower?
So at the ends of the arm, they had to pour more concrete because it was at a higher elevation.
It's not what I asked you. It's not what I asked you. When the job was done, you have your apex, it's level.
Mm-hmm.
Either arm, how are they in relation to the apex?
They're flat. They're straight. They're straight.
Yeah.
Are they also level?
No. They are. They at each spot they are not level. They like if you put a bubble level on the apex and you started moving down the arm, it would get off and more off level.
How? Towards the up or towards the down?
With the bubble level, it would either go left or right.
No, hold on a second. You have a level at the apex, and you have two arms running. And I'm asking, you say they're not level at the ends. So I'm asking you, are they lower than the apex or higher than the apex?
They have a higher elevation than the apex.
So they're higher than, wow.
So the horizontal raises in elevation for you. No, you said it would be higher.
Hold on. The horizontal plane that was established at the apex will diverge from the surface of the earth. The horizontal plane stays straight, but the level of water starts diverging from the straightness.
What? How do you envision that? You envision level water diverging from straightness?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
How is that possible?
Because level is a curve. And water is level.
That's my model dictates, right?
No,
that's
absolutely. But as I was saying, like if we go back to the straight line test, you would be able to see which one's true. If water is curved, then there will be an angle. If level water is curved, there will be an angle between B, A, and C. If water level is straight, then all of them will be collinear. It's a test.
I don't think there's any possibility of reaching you, bro. I just don't think so.
If we do the test, that would reach me.
At what point is vertical not perpendicular to horizontal?
It always is. Every vertical is perpendicular to its horizontal.
To its horizontal. And
yes.
What is a horizontal?
It's 90 degrees from its vertical, and vertical is defined from the plumb bob. I wonder if I could do it, because over a short distance, you might be able to use the Autolite app and a water level.
I mean, he obviously doesn't understand what level is.
You don't understand. Hold on.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own.
I can guarantee you there will be a hump in the middle. If you side across from one side to the other,
just take my word for it, bro.
No, don't take my word for it. Do it. I can guarantee you there will be a hump in the middle. There will be. I can guarantee there will be a hump in the middle.
There will be.
I can guarantee you there will be a hump in the middle.
Go and speak to anyone. Go up to someone that you know and just say, "Here, mate, is level horizontal?"
Yeah.
See what you say.
Horizontal, of course, level's horizontal.
Well, there you go then.
With level, especially when you do it on a small scale. Okay, if you're talking about the water level, the horizontal plane that a water level establishes is in the middle of the water level.
You would have to understand what a line is.
You don't understand.
I mean, he obviously doesn't understand what level is.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn.
Hold on.
You're just on your own.
Begging for your model to be real.
You would have to understand what a line is.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
So logically it follows then that all perpendiculars to that line
You don't understand.
are parallel to each other.
Yes, I agree.
It also then follows that that line cannot be a curved line or change angle anywhere along the line.
That line, yes. So this straight line we are using cannot bend because it's straight. I agree. That line, yes. So this straight line we are using cannot bend because it's straight. I agree. This straight line we are using cannot bend because it's straight. I agree.
I mean, he obviously doesn't understand what level is.
You would have to understand what a line is.
You don't understand.
You might be able to use the Autolite app and a water level.
No reason, no logic, no wisdom, no worry.
You don't understand.
You're just on your own.
Begging for your model to be real.
No reason, no logic, no answers to questions.
You don't understand.
You're just on your own.
Begging for your model to be real.
You know what we call a vertical change? You know when we measure a vertical change?
Yeah, it's an elevation change.
Yeah, a vertical measurement in the vertical.
Yeah, because it's a good approximation of the short distance.
So you're saying that horizontal being straight would get a measurement from the... Oh, wait a minute. You use a tool called a level that establishes a horizontal, and then from that horizontal you measure a vertical change, don't you?
I'm saying that
you do though, don't you? Right? Do you understand that, right? You use a tool called a level that establishes a horizontal, and you measure a vertical change from that horizontal. And what do we call that vertical change again?
Elevation change. That's not
a reference to the horizontal, obviously.
But I'm in reality, like this is why I'm thinking of actually doing this test. In reality, specifically say that horizontal is actually not a plane. Your misunderstanding of my model is not my problem. It's up to you to understand it.
You don't understand. Hold on.
You don't understand.
I mean, he obviously doesn't understand what level means.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own.
I have no problem with you all using the water level to establish a horizontal plane. It will be tangent to the curve of the earth. They would maintain the same elevation. But remember, levels occur. So then is a vertical angle just a right angle? Grab a water level, that same water level test, and sight across it. That's it. Anything that is 90 degrees from that plane will be parallel to the vertical that you established at that point. Whenever y'all ask me about surveying, I say, yeah, I'm not an expert. I defer to the experts.
I'm out. We'll carry on, but I don't think it's. I mean, he obviously doesn't understand what level means.
You don't understand.
Hold on. You don't understand.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own.
We don't use proof in reality, that's pseudoscience. Or you can use it for math and logic. I don't claim to know anything about surveying.
Have you held a water level?
Have I held a water level, the tool? No, but it's a pretty simple concept.
Say they're even so bold over there, you guys. They believe horizontals are parallel.
Yeah.
You ever heard of proof before? Like real proof?
Proof doesn't exist in reality. It only exists in math and physics.
With your picture, then. Thank you.
No, I'm not trying to prove anything.
Hold on.
No,
I'm showing you evidence that the Earth is a globe.
Prove stuff.
No, I'm bringing evidence that the Earth is a globe.
Hold on.
Why would I try to prove something? That's pseudoscience. We don't use proof in reality. That's pseudoscience.
Hold on. You don't understand.
I mean, he obviously doesn't understand what level means.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own.
My God.
22 years old. You're on the fucking internet talking to people about begging for your model to be real. It's bizarre.
You're just on your own.
Begging for your model to be real.
No logic, no answers to questions.
You don't understand.
You're just on your own.
Begging for your model to be real.
He thinks the zero pressure state in the water is an arc instead of a straight line.
Yeah. I'm not laughing at Tom. I'm laughing at the theoretical conversation. Hey, there's some people who think level is horizontal and they want you all to talk about. And also, parallel and vertical being 90 degrees from one another. And in math, typically when you establish a horizontal plane, in math, it's just one horizontal.
They just go to reality to describe something other than